gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, hello and welcome back to another episode of one of the greatest shows sweeping the nation, the hottest attraction you will ever see, the hottest show in all the globe, the Welch Report with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Make some noise, clap it up, get excited wherever you are. We are back with another action-packed episode for you today, as we have so much to cover in the world of sports today. My goodness, also happy Thanksgiving coming up. Again, I thought it was going to be yesterday, but actually it is, I thought it was going to be, lost track of my days when Thanksgiving was happening. That's why I originally had the show for Thursday, but no, we're going to do it right now. And we got the parts coming in for the mic, don't get it twisted, but still, it sounds great to me, and we're still going to make this show pop for the rest of the viewing and listening public. I've been Jean-Luc Welch, or I am Jean-Luc Welch. This is, again, the Welch Report with me as your host. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We got a jam-packed show for you today, covering the world of boxing and the NBA, as we always do. And we have, again, a lot to cover, like with the announcement of Floyd, Schofield, and Shakur. Potentially that will be going on. Navarrete and Oscar Valdez going up against each other in their fight, in their rematch. My prediction, breaking down what's going to happen, what needs to happen for Valdez to actually get the victory this time around, or will the destructive nature of Emmanuel Navarrete continue to steamroll as this reign of dominance and reign of terror continues to go over the division, as well as Teofimo Lopez has now sent out offers, but were they accepted or declined by the likes of Devin, Haney, and Cambosos, as well as much more stuff in the boxing realm and in basketball as well, with action happening last night in the NBA Cup. Lakers losing, Bucks winning. The trajectories of both of them going forward in their seasons, and what it means and what changes need to be made for both teams, potentially, if changes need to be made at all for one team specifically in Milwaukee. But all that and more is going to be talked about right here on this show. So again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining the show. Please go ahead and leave a like on the video. Comment your thoughts and opinions, subscribe to the channel, and share the show with everybody that you know. You can leave some emojis, you can leave likes and all this stuff as you see me doing in the chat right now. For anybody that wants to comment on their own questions, their own comments, their own concerns, and their own thoughts on whatever you want to talk about. This is as much my show as it is yours as well. And again, we're gonna have some fun. That's what we're gonna do. And plus, also, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Oh yes, indeed. A turkey would hate to see me coming, because, ladies and gentlemen, we got some problems, because I'm ready to eat. I am ready to eat. I am excited. We got ham, macaroni and cheese, all that stuff. Just made some pecan pie earlier in the week to get it set, primed and ready for the big day of tomorrow on Thursday. Oh, I can't wait to see what you all eat. Again, comment. What's your favorite sides? What's your favorite dishes? What's your favorite food? What do you despise? I tell you what, if somebody brings Chitllins to Thanksgiving, or dare I say, if anybody makes Chitllins in any vicinity, even in my neighborhood, I will lose my mind. In fact, that'll be the first topic of the day. Forget anything else that we're going to do. Let's have some fun with food real quick. If anybody has anything to say about Chitllins being a quality food in the marquee lineup of Thanksgiving dinner and Thanksgiving tradition as a whole, well, you're a bold-faced lie. You are still stuck in slavery time. You're doggone right, and I said it, and I ain't taking it back. There is no reason that anybody of any walk of life should be eating Chitllins as a predominant, consistent, and constant food that you have as a tradition. That is horrible. That is terrible. That is disgusting. I got a buddy of mine who eats them on the regular, and I despise him for that with all my heart and soul. Love him like a brother. He is going to be one of my best friends for life. Remember that. But, you know who you are. And because you know who you are, brother, what is wrong with you? And what is wrong with everybody who eats around you when it comes to the Thanksgiving holiday? Because if Chitllins are on your dish as a consistent cuisine, a delicacy of yours, you have lost your mind. I would never forgive that. Okra as well. Some people would like okra. I'm just not a fan of it. But again, hey, that's just my humble opinions. But I would love to hear your thoughts on whatever food traditions you would like to have during the holiday festivities, what you're thankful for, all that stuff, well and good. Hopefully you're enjoying your family or loved ones, whoever the world you are around with. This is a time to appreciate, celebrate, not appreciate Chitllins, but appreciate everything else going on in life. As much as things may seem bad, there's always an upside, and I guarantee you, you will reach the end. Don't get it twisted, and things will turn around, whatever the case may be. And if things are going well, hey, enjoy the times, enjoy the life, enjoy the luxury of being free. It's just a phenomenal thing. And please, don't take it for granted. Never. Always be thankful for that. But again, all that holidays, festivities, and spirit and all that stuff coming all out the wazoo when it comes to now the holiday times. Thanksgiving and Christmas right around the corner. Hey, we got all that stuff out the way. Now it's time to get into the nitty-gritty of the show, which is sports. Since you're talking about boxing first and foremost, let's jump right in to stepping into the ring. Oh, yeah. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this show going underway. We got so much to talk about. First and foremost, we have an announcement of a potential fight being in the works, or rather, it's happening right now. And please go on and like the stream so we can get this to everybody around the globe. But we're right here on the Watch Report. But hey, we finally got a fight we've been waiting for. One of the bigger fights we've been waiting for. Floyd Schofield versus Shakur Stevenson. Looks like it's going to be a go. Oh my gosh. It looks like it's going to happen. Over Twitter, we had Shakur and Floyd saying, hey, it's a done deal. I'm calling you out. We want it to happen. There's been speculations, interviews constantly on Fight Hype, on Cigar Talk, this, that, and third of people going through and saying, are you going to fight Shakur Stevenson? Will Shakur even make the fight happen in the first place? Eddie Hearn, I believe, was sent an offer to Floyd Schofield. And there was a situation where, hey, if you watch a show, Showbiz the Adult, on his own show and podcast, he put it best himself. Eddie Hearn put him in a corner. Eddie Hearn put him in a legitimate predicament where if you don't accept, it's going to look like a duck to you because they sent an offer over to Floyd. Reason being, understand, for those who are unaware, the fight between Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda is officially off as for the time being because of William Zepeda getting an injury against Devin in his very controversial win in some people's eyes. Understand this, some people may say he lost the fight. If he did win, it wasn't by a wide margin at all. Yes, he's 32-0 with 21 or 27 KO, still undefeated, still a top contender. However, the problem is now that contending status is going up against somebody like Shakur Stevenson. That's not put into question of how competitive would that fight actually be. His stock took a hit a little bit, and he was injured. I believe it was his wrist or his hand, one of the two. Arm was in a sling, said he can't fight had to be canceled, wants to reschedule. But now, while we're waiting for whatever happens with that, we got Shakur and Floyd potentially going at it, and this is exactly what we wanted, is it not? Hey, the young fighting the young. The spry and prime fighting the spry and prime. Again, both of these people are still young. Again, Floyd Schofield's only, 22 years old. I think Shakur is 25, 26, just about. I could be wrong, but even still, this is when we want to see these types of fights transpire. Get a situation where people are actively fighting their peers directly across from the table. And this is all we can ask. This is literally all we can ask, regardless of what you want to say about Floyd Schofield's last performance, which we will get into. Don't get it twisted. We've already covered on the show before, but even still, it was shaky. But that doesn't change the fact that this still needs to happen. And there was any opportunity for Floyd to make a name for himself and actively get his cachet up into the moon. This is the opportunity to do it. If you make a good fight with Shakur Stevenson, even in a loss, you will be seen as a legitimate, viable, and credible threat to the rest of the division at 135. We will want to watch you grow. I believe you already 18-0, 12 KOs. You're one of the rising stars, one of the more exciting stars in the sport. But now, hey, there's going to be a situation where you will literally, if you put your performance right, even in a loss, set yourself up to be followed and have a legitimate star drawing ability attached to you. People are going to be clamoring for a rematch. People are clamoring to watch you go and work around the division. See what you can do. See what you got. See how you evolve. Just like they did with Isaac Cruz after he put on a great display against Gervonta Davis. This is what we want. And for Shakur, it's about time. Let's face it. It's about time we saw that brother, one, back in the ring, and two, saw that brother legitimately getting in the ring with somebody of a semblance of legitimate, credible threat. Now, again, De Los Santos, he was a threat. Don't get it twisted. Athletic Cuban-style boxer, was, I believe, undefeated at that point in time. If not, only had one loss, but still very strong, very much a powerful and fast, explosive fighter. That fight was one of the worst fights I have seen in boxing history. Point blank, period. Yes, Shakur won, but he looked horrible in it. So, yes, he did face a threat, and he looked bad in doing it. Now, going up against another threat, while we know Kid Austin is not on the level of Shakur, at least in my mind, it doesn't change the fact it is still a fight that needed to happen. It's going to happen, thankfully, at least what it looks like right now, and should happen. Now, the ramifications of this, we'll jump into right quick, but before we do, we have comments. What's going on? Jay Wood, how you doing? Put your wrong sound. Hold on, wait a minute. There we go. What's up? Thank you for tuning in on the show. This is going to be a great show. Glad you tuned in. Hopefully, you're going to have a great Thanksgiving. Hopefully, you're prepping for it right now. You already bought your ingredients for Thanksgiving over the past week like we in my family did, because, oh, boy, I can't wait to eat. I'm so excited for it. Also, what's your favorite dish? I want to hear what you like. And do you like chitlins? It's a hotly contested topic that I really want to get people's opinion on. Also, if you could, please leave a like on the video. We're trying to get the views up, trying to get the algorithm to see us as a legitimate, viable show that everybody will want to tune in on, because this is one of the hottest shows in all the globe. I tell you that right now. And this is entertainment for the masses. We're trying to get the masses to see us. So, so if you would, please share the show and give a like if you can. But again, I appreciate your comments. We got a lot to go on. Again, right now we're talking about Shakur versus Floyd Schofield. That looks like it's going to shape up to happen if agreements are set and ready, and it looks like they are based on what Floyd and Shakur are saying over Twitter. But let's read your comment to it first. If Turkey, hold on, let's use our feature. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, I love this thing. I love it. This one. Yeah, that's right. It's so cool. But let's see. If Turkish pulls off making Bivol better be of Dubois, Parker, Zhang, Kabiel, Bakolie, and Ajagba. Oh yeah, you've seen the card. That was actually gonna be a topic of the show as well. We're gonna get into all of this. And if he makes all these fights, Kid Austin, Shakur, Boots, Virgil, Carlos, and Hamas, if he can make, and he can. See, here's the thing. It's not about if, it's about when at this point. Because it's going to be an incredible February 2025 can't come soon enough, because February 22nd is going to be a litany. I mean a litany of outright spectacles and a legitimate cause to really find out who is indeed the best in the division. Really help shape. See, here's what Turkish Al-Sheikh is doing. And again, I'll jump back into Floyd and Shakur real quick. But real quick, when it comes to Turkey and what he's doing for boxing, I'm not trying to ride for the brother. I'm not trying to be a guy who is just, he's the great savior, whatever. I'm not doing it. What I am doing is being objective. That's what we do. We are unbiased on this show. Yes, we have favorites. Sure, but we keep it clean in terms of what we want to help inform the public. What Turkish is doing, he is doing what boxing should have done a long time ago, that would have eliminated the need for somebody like Turki Al-Sheikh to come in and throw money at the sport to finally get the fights we want to see. It could have been that promoters, they actively work together as a legitimate community to make the fights that people want, trust their fighters to actually get in the ring and be tested. Willing to be, hey, I'll put my stuff on the line, because my star is still a star, win, lose, or draw. It's about making it so that the fans are consistently happy. Then we wouldn't need somebody like Turkey coming in and throwing money and essentially making it so that promoters are working hand in hand. And it could be that we see promoters get bought out and inevitably get ousted, because now one man's doing everything that you all never wanted to do. And if he does start his own promotion, like he's talked about that he wants to do, potentially, now we're going to see, hey, promoters may be on the outskirts. As much as they've been controlling the game, this has been a monumental shift in boxing as a landscape organization, a landscape system that we haven't seen in a while. One man single-handedly taking the sport and essentially reinventing it for the better in terms of getting matches that we want to see when we want to see it. That makes sense. This is different. It's so different. It's so unique, and it's odd, but in a good way. And because of that, my word, it's going to be a situation where he can make stuff obsolete. And people better watch out. People really better watch out. I promise you that. But again, we still got more to cover. And getting back on topic with Shakur and Floyd, when it comes to Kid Austin, outside of just the sheer innate talent, what makes this fight so much better is the speed on speed competitive legitimate nature that this fight's going to be in. And what do I mean by that? Well, first off, let's get through some of these comments real quick. Let's see. Do you believe this? Let's see. Hold on. Wait. We're getting through this. Hold on, stuff is coming through. Let's see. Do you believe Zepeda hand injury? His trainer said he can't win the decision against Shakur. Well, yes, he can't win a decision against Shakur. Absolutely. His trainer is absolutely right. But at the same time, yes, the hand injury is real. Again, I'm not the guy that buys into the whole people faking everything. I'm not saying this is a conspiracy, but rhetoric like this sometimes lead to conspiracy-like notions. Again, egg-shaped form, something in the water, like with Deontay Wilder, something in Fury's gloves, like in Deontay Wilder and other situations like that. I don't buy into stuff like that. Genuinely, if somebody, and what we know about William Zepeda isn't, but from what I gather as a boxer, he's not somebody who is generally going to lie about himself. In terms of how he fights and how he operates, hey, the brother is legitimately still a top contender for a reason. He is legit. There's no reason why a legit contender who has the opportunity to face off against one of the top contenders in the division, somebody who, if he beats him, my gosh, what would it do for his career? And elevate him? Why would he not have that opportunity? Why would he not want that to happen? So I don't think it's fake. I think it's real. I believe it's real. I know it's real. How severe it may be, that's a whole other question. But in terms of if it's real, yes, the hand injury is real. But also, his trainer's right. He couldn't beat him in a decision. He's got to beat him by a KO. Or if it does go to a decision, he's got to knock him down a couple times. He's got to. He's got to do what De Los Santos couldn't do, which is cut off the ring to actually let your power actually be felt. Because if not, there's nothing you can do. Genuinely, there is nothing you can do. And let's see. I think. Oh, you be commenting a lot. I think Kid Austin is still green. Yet but with Zepeda not taking a fight with Shakur, might as well go after Kid. Yeah, exactly. You might as well go after it, and it makes sense. It makes sense, regardless of the situation. Like I said before with David Benavidez and Canelo and other fighters in today's game, if you can't find if the best ain't available, fight the next best. Simple as that. You can still up your legacy and up your cachet without having to fight only the top guy. You can still go the next best, the guy under him. That's what Anyway did. Anyway literally started from the top down and just fought 1 through 5. Whatever was the best available, he took it, plain and simple. That trajectory, Benavidez, he fought everybody. And it didn't matter if you were the top or not in terms of star power. If you were at the top of the rankings or close to it, brother, you get me in the ring with him. I got to show you how good I am. That's exactly what he's been doing. And that's what, thankfully, we see Shakur doing, at least seemingly, if this is agreed upon. That's what we see Shakur doing right now. Live in America, and lots of my friends don't like Saudi boxing start time, especially on the West Coast. And yeah, we'll say this. Yes, it is odd in the midday, in the afternoon, at 2 o'clock. It can be, we'll say, it can be it can be rough for some people. Because you used to, in the 8 or 9 o'clock, sit down and, I can ease the day. Instead of having it, start time 2 o'clock, ends at 8 o'clock. And it's a great card. It's just a long card. But hey, if you truly do make time for it, I guarantee you, they won't regret it. With these cards, oh no, this is worth it. This is worth it. This is absolutely worth it. I love it. In terms of, I'm just glad I'll make time. Because we're getting the fights we want to see. And that's what I like. That's what we need. So they don't want to make time. Make them make time. And they'll see exactly why. Hey, time is irrelevant when it comes to the quality of fights. No, boy. I live in America too. And brother, I am excited to get up at 1 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and watch on a Saturday, see the best of the best going at it. That's what I enjoy. Do you think father-son duels are a good thing and dad's vicariously living through his son? That's a quality question. And it's a twofold thing. When it comes to boxing, this is a situation that we're looking at when it comes to father-son duels. Like with what's his name? Why am I blanking? Terrence Crawford beat him, knocked him out. Showtime Sean Porter, that's what I was thinking of. Like with Showtime Sean Porter, his dad was his trainer the entire time. We've seen Eubanks trained by his father, Chris Eubanks Sr. We've seen countless times the legitimate situation where father-son duos are not bad, but they can be. If we see it, like, hey, I think there was a time when John Fury was in the corner with Tyson Fury before he ultimately went to Emmanuel Stewart and others. But father-son duels in boxing, they're not bad, but they can be incredibly problematic. Absolutely. The best case scenario, in a way, and his father. Look at what they've done. They've churned out dominant performance after dominant performance after dominant performance. And they're great. They're phenomenal. There's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to the line, that's where stuff gets problematic. There's a fine line for father-son from that can bleed into boxer trainer that can ultimately ruin a boxer. It legitimately can. Like what we saw with Sean Porter and his father in the Terrence Crawford fight. Hey, there was a situation at that point, I feel, regardless of what Sean says, genuinely, I feel that his father did too much. His father did too much. As much of a trusted relationship that they had, I feel that he did too much. And he didn't let Sean legitimately have an opportunity, who was winning the fight up until he got knocked down twice. And it wasn't a hurt knockdown, but he just got knocked down still. Didn't give an opportunity to, hey, you need to get yourself right. But this is the biggest opportunity that you're going to get outside of Errol Spence, which was an incredibly close fight. Now you're fighting against Terrence Crawford, who was viewed at the time, at least as the second best, if not the best, pound-for-pound fighter in the world. You make me stop because, oh yeah, you're already done? No, that's a problem. That I completely disagree with. That is you as a father taking too much responsibility and going above your means. Rather than as a trainer, doing your job, getting your fighter in the corner, making him genuinely sit and think, brother, what are you doing? Instead of stopping the fight outright. Yeah, you may know your boxer better than anybody else. That's fine. But there wasn't a situation where he was just taking so much damage that, oh, it's just irreparable. He could have turned the ship around, potentially. But you didn't even give him that opportunity. I don't agree. And that's where it can become a problem. Kid Austin, his dad talks a lot. Bill Haney and Devin Haney, dad talks a lot. They talk. Oh, yes, they do. And when they talk, Teofimo and his dad, they talk. That's where the problem lies. The biggest thing isn't just training. It's the outward perception that what they do to their sons, it can be a legitimate problem. Because if we see, like with Kid Austin, who's called out Shakur multiple times, wants to fight him. Yes, father been talking all this smack constantly about anybody and everybody. You are setting your son up to potentially, if he loses now, the love that he would get, even if it's a close competitive fight, wouldn't be given as much, because it would strictly be, we don't like you. And hence, we don't want your son to win. And when he loses, we're going to berate him. Like, that's the nature of the beast. It happened with Teofimo Lopez, though, again, he's still a big star. But it happened with Teofimo Lopez. It happened with Devin Haney and Bill Haney when he got destroyed by Ryan Garcia. Even though Ryan Garcia, yes, we get the Austria and all that stuff, win was wiped out, the performance is still the performance. We saw what happened. And we saw what the backlash went and did to him. We see it. Bill Haney set him up for that. So you can't Father and son training, love it. It can be incredibly beneficial when it's done right. But my gosh, when it's done wrong, even when you're winning, ultimately, it will never end well. Say what you want about Sean Porter, the biggest memory that we have of him outside of the great fights. Everybody's always going to bring up, well, your father said, yeah, you're done. Your father stopped the fight before many people think it should have happened. Teofimo, hey, but you got beat by Kambosos and your father was talking all that smack. What the world? He needs to shut up. Happened in the NBA as well. Not in a training situation, but even still. Saw it with LaMelo Ball, Jello, and Melo, Jello, and Lonzo. They all wanted to go to the league. Problem was, everybody was hating on him because of their dad. Literally. And we see now, Melo has had, what? 30-point games, had a 50-point game, has been averaging 30 plus for the last couple games, even on a losing average in Charlotte, but even still playing dominant. But up until then, it took his dad getting quiet for us to now be able to really see, oh yeah, and we love to watch Jello play. Or Melo play, not Jello, because but it's a bump. But we love to watch Melo play. We want to see Lonzo back. We love their game now. But we couldn't appreciate that at the time because we were blinded by the hate that we had for LeVar Ball. Saying all this stuff. And I get it. It's marketing. And for boxers and fathers, to a degree, yes, it's marketing. But it still can be a problem. Major problem. And it can lead to a path of legitimate embarrassment if something goes wrong. And when something goes wrong, because something will go wrong. It's happened all the time. Now we see the son has to take the backlash of that, not the dad. The fighter has to take the backlash of what their dad is putting and setting themselves up for, not the father themselves. Because then people don't care about the trainer ultimately, not because the trainer isn't important. Yes, they are. Absolutely. But the ultimate ridicule comes at the expense, in almost every situation, of the fighter. And so it can be a detriment. If it works out great, you turn it into anyway. If it doesn't, most of the time it ends very bad. And so I still want to see it. It can be bad. Living vicariously, trying to talk a lot when you ain't. There's a difference in hyping up a fight and setting your son up for failure. If the fighter's talking, no problem. But if you're talking, you cashing checks that somebody else has to make sure they cash through and go through. Like, it can set them up for bad situations. And we've seen it countless times. Ultimately, we see a trend. When it works out great, we love it, and we don't even think about it. When it works out horrible, though, my gosh, oh boy, it turns to a real nightmare. And if we see Floyd lose to Shakur, we might see, hey, it's time to break it up, even though it's one loss. Especially if it's detrimental, even though we know Austin's young. Sometimes, hey, family or not, brother, this is my life. This is my career. We got to make a change. If you ain't working, if you don't know what to do to coach me, I don't care if you're my dad or not, brother, you got to go. We got to make a shift. Something's got to move. And we could see that happen after this fight with Shakur, if, again, this fight happens in the first place. But hopefully that answers your question. But it's a situation. I'm excited for the fight, genuine. What I do want to know from you all, do you think Floyd has a chance at winning it all? Is there a genuine possibility that you can see Floyd Schofield winning? Because in my estimation, what makes this fight so interesting, like I said earlier before I went through the whole answering questions, is Floyd Schofield potentially has the hand speed to compete with Shakur on the inside. Now, why is that important? Yes, we know that Shakur doesn't like fighting on the inside at all. Outside game and outboxing is his MO. Distance management, not necessarily head movement, being able to make it so that he's just out of reach of you while still being able to get his jab and whatever other shots he wants off while being completely defensively sound. Again, a marksman of perfection when it comes to distance management. I've said this countless times. One of the best pure boxers that the sport has seen. That is undeniable. That is undeniable. But when it comes to the inside game, Remember when he fought against Artem Artyunian? And I was complaining about how he didn't use his whole tool belt, even though he could have done it to get Artem out of there. Genuinely. Especially when he had him hurt later on in the fight. But said that a dangerous fighter is dangerous at all times. Knocked out, or whether he's hurt or whether he's fresh. So you can't risk too much. That's what Shakur said against Artem. Not going up against Floyd. Because of that same mentality. That could be the very thing that gives Floyd legitimate opportunity on the inside to be able to legitimately get some shots off and potentially have a key to victory. Because when it comes to inside fighting, though we know Shakur can do it, he can. Again, he did it against Artem. He was able to always beat Artem to the punch and use different angles. And the natural physical ability, and again, the hand speed. Talking about the hand speed only. Not just everything else, but focusing on the hand speed. That is what was able to get Shakur to be able to have such a dominating performance. Against Floyd, though, Floyd's got some of the best natural athletic ability in the division, regardless of what you think about his talent. That's the whole truth. Since that's the case, now we see with him against Shakur on the inside, if he can get there, because that is the testing of his stuff, if he can get there. But if he does get there, and then we see him actually able to work. Now because we know Floyd, now that we know Shakur is still wary of anybody with legitimate pop, as we saw with De Los Santos. We could see Schofield actually be able to have some success. Because that if there is any hesitancy of Shakur to be able to throw, when Floyd does indeed close the distance, if he does. Now, if Shakur does try to beat him to the punch on the inside, he could get caught himself. He could get tagged himself. Legitimate. Though we know Floyd doesn't have as great defense, though we know Floyd isn't as good of a boxer as Shakur. Understandable. I'm talking about if there was a way to win. Don't be surprised if on the inside we see Floyd actively be able to do what most boxers can't do, which is beat Shakur to the punch when it comes to infight. Having success and being able to land those uppercuts and hooks around and through the Philly shell guard of Shakur before Shakur has the ability to get his own shot off. Not because Shakur ain't fast, no. But because on the inside, there is we've seen the combination speed of Floyd Schofield. We see the pop and snap that he's got in his punches. We see the legitimate ability to punch and get back to center that Schofield has. The physical talent, it is indeed there. This ain't a full breakdown of the fight, but don't sleep on Kid Austin. Because the brother isn't just a one-dimensional come-forward fighter. He can use angles. He can genuinely have the ability to not just cut off the ring, but once he gets on the inside, give a lot of people trouble. Regardless of what you want to say about the last performance, which, again, bodes a bunch of questions. And like I said, I still don't think that he's better. I still don't think he'll beat Shakur. Doesn't mean that there ain't a viable way to do it. It doesn't. It does not. Not at all. Because now we're looking at somebody unlike De Los Santos, unlike Artem Artyunian. This is a brother who legitimately, and unlike Yoshina, who also Shakur knocked out. I think that was his last knockout. We see Shakur against Floyd. Floyd's got the physical ability to stay with and muscle with Shakur, because Shakur is a big dude. Floyd's got the ability to have footwork at least comparable to Shakur in terms of speed, not technical ability, speed, to be able to actually cut off the ring or at least be able to follow him more effectively if you can't cut off the ring outright, unlike with De Los Santos. And he's got the power and hand speed to be able to give Shakur some legitimate trouble once he actively gets into his range, if he gets into his range, unlike what we saw with Artem Artyunian when he got on the inside against Shakur. He's got the tools. He indeed does. So don't throw it out. No, it's just going to be a wash. Even though, yes, this is a fight that we want to see. There's a reason why there's intrigue in this. There's a reason why this is a very cool matchup. The reason why people are starting to get more excited every day this fight gets closer to being completely announced. Because this is a fight that has a lot more risk for Shakur than people may realize. Though we know who's the better fighter, we also know anything can happen. And I don't like using that as a cop-out answer for, oh, we can see anything happen in boxing. I'm saying genuinely, because we know anything can happen, and because we do know what Shakur does not like, Floyd has the ability to fit that mold and do what he needs to do and be effective in it. To be able to give Shakur legitimately some real trouble and potentially pull out an upset. Oh, it's possible. It's entirely possible. And I can't wait for the fight. Absolutely. I cannot wait for it. Absolutely. But again, we still got more to cover on the show, like with Emmanuel Navarrete versus Oscar Valdez. Oh, yes, indeed. That fight's going to be a barn burner. That fight is going to be an absolute slugfest of a war, like it was the first time that we saw, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, when Navarrete and Oscar Valdez fought for the title. Absolute dominating presence and dominating onslaught from both opponents. But ultimately, Navarrete took it out. Navarrete dominated as the fight got longer and longer. And now in their rematch, most people say they don't want to see it. I do. It's still a quality fight. Issue is now, is it going to be soon? Is it going to be quicker in dominating win fashion than what we saw last time? Another repeat, but just an easier win for Navarrete? It might be. The only reason, again, let's recap as to why it happened that Oscar Valdez lost the first time. Oscar Valdez lost the first fight because, again, Navarrete's high volume and high pressure, as it's done in every single fight, takes hold of their opponents and takes hold of the momentum. Makes sure that he overwhelms everybody that he faces off against. That unorthodox style that I hate. I despise it because there's so many openings that anybody should be able to capitalize on and get him out of there. But they don't. And it's because it's such a unique style. I can hate it all I want. It works. And it works flawlessly. It's turned him into one of the most destructive fighters in the division. Nay, one of the more destructive fighters in boxing that people just don't pay attention to. They should. Because that brother is coming for everybody. Now going up against Oscar Valdez, the volume was able to beat him. It was the ability to actually use head movement that we hadn't seen before from Navarrete up until that point in the fight. And hey, more of an offensive slugger, all of a sudden got some defensive ability into his arsenal as the fight went on. He evolved as the fight was going, which was incredible. Even with an injured hand, the brother was still throwing punches. Remember that injured right hand that got hurt in the fight? Brother was still throwing and still connecting and still landing. And it was like, hey, that's a testament to him. And he was able to catch Valdez as Valdez was going backwards, which is what Navarrete loves to do the most. Once you start backing up, that's when his offense gets the most destructive. That's when this offense becomes so scary. That's when this offense genuinely strikes fear into everybody. Because now that length and reach that he has is so awkward and long and deceptive. And the punches come from angles that you just don't expect. He'll tag you every time, and he will back you into the corner. He fights better with you going backwards than he does with you standing in front of him, which is incredible to see. But it's what he does. When he gets momentum going, like the juggernaut. That's what he's like. He's like the juggernaut. That's the biggest thing I can say about him. The juggernaut, once he starts moving, you can't stop him. Once the juggernaut starts moving, you can't stop him. You can't stop the momentum. That's what Navarrete thrives on, momentum. And that's what won him this fight. Now, what Valdez did good, hey, the brother was looking for counters. The brother was looking for openings. The brother waited until he could land the hooks that were giving him the most success in the fight. And it did just that. Was incredible. Phenomenal. But as the fight went on, he became too patient. He was so much looking for counters and being so defensive that he was essentially getting hit because of his own mistakes. Because you can't avoid Navarrete forever. Unless you are somebody that is a defensive genius, like, again, Shakur Stevenson. You can't avoid Navarrete forever. You can't. It's impossible. Because of that, he was waiting too much on solely the counters instead of actively going forward and using his own offensive volume to help smother some of the offense and land his own shots on the inside. Go to the body a little more because he's got a lot of body. Not saying he's out of shape, but he's got a lot of, he's long. There's a lot that you can hit going downstairs if he went there. The straight right that he could use. That was one of his most effective punches. The straight punches. Not just the jab, but literally the straight right was one of the biggest things that gave him success in terms of Oscar Valdez that he went away from. That if he had used it more often, that could have helped turn the tide around. But he didn't. If he doesn't do those things and willingly make his offense up the ante, willingly look to come forward, not just look for counters, he's got to have a balance. It's a finite balance that he's got to have when it comes to fighting Oscar, or when it comes to fighting Emmanuel Navarrete. It's got to be, you got to look for the counter because it's there. And you'll be foolish not to go for it. But on the flip side, if you are too counter-driven, you're going to get beat. And you're going to eventually get overwhelmed. Because if you can't counter 5 or 6 different punches, you can't. You can't wait around that long unless you're a defensive god. And Oscar Valdez, as great as he is not that. And if he doesn't get that balance right of counter punching as well as forward aggression, he's not going to win. He's going to get done worse than he did the first time around. But if he does, now we got an opportunity to win. Now we got an opportunity to see. Now we got an opportunity to legitimately win. Let's see what you got. J. Will, what you got? Navarrete going back to 130 was the right move. He was undisciplined with his weight. Yeah, he was. Well, let's be frank, he was. Again, he's never been in great shape in terms of when you look at him physically. And yeah, going back down to 130, it might be the best move. But even more than the weight, which isn't my biggest concern with him. My biggest concern with him was his defensive ability. Every time I saw him fight, like when he fought against William, when he moved up initially and fought against William, and he got knocked down, countered, and nearly got knocked out. Should have got knocked out if William was able to actively, if William had done the second part of the equation to beat Navarrete up the forward momentum and aggression, William could have ended this undefeated streak right now if he had legitimately looked to come forward. But he didn't. That's what Valdez has to do. And with Navarrete in his own discipline in the technical realm, every fight I see him, as much as I don't like him, as much as I don't like his style, in terms of I'm cool with brawlers, I'm cool with sluggers, I'm cool with heavy hitters, no problem there. But aesthetically, my gosh, everything in me just says he should be countered and KO'd. And so that's why I'm like, shoot, just tighten up some of the stuff. Don't be so unorthodox that you are just so open to everything. But that's Navarrete. I can't get mad at it because it works. But every fight I see him, that's what I don't like about him. He is getting smarter. His defense is getting better. And it's going to need you. Because what I see in Navarrete, and you may disagree with this, but it's similar to what I see with Joe Joyce. Not from a talent perspective, but in terms of a chin perspective. The chin of Navarrete. Yes, it's a lower weight. I get it. Yes, it's a situation where, hey, you're not a heavyweight. You're not going up against people 240, 250. You're not even going up against people 260 or 160. I get it. But what we saw when he did move up in weight, but it got cracked. All of a sudden, the chin that he normally used to be able to eat a lot of shots wasn't working like it used to. Got buzzed like never before. That was a telltale sign to me that this brother, if he doesn't, right now he's doing the right thing, getting better defensively, even if it's slightly. But if he doesn't continue to evolve as a defensive fighter in terms of doing the smart stuff, the small stuff, the little things on defense at a higher rate, and he keeps going into these wars like this, it's going to catch up with him. It really is. Because once he goes up against a heavy hitter, once he goes up against a genuinely strong puncher, because again, currently he is champion. If I have my stuff correct, in fact, let me check. Yeah, he is champion. Currently, he's a champion. Currently, again, undefeated. And the brother genuinely is one of the more nuanced spectacles in boxing. But the problem is, as he continues to evolve, he's going to get into bigger fights with legitimate power punchers that are technically able to do everything that I say you can do to beat Navarrete with ease on a vastly higher scale than somebody like Oscar Valdez. And this is no disrespect to Oscar Valdez. It's not. I'm just telling you the truth. That's what, that's the nature of the beast. That's what's going to happen as it continues to evolve. Because eventually I see him. He's going to move back up. Eventually. I genuinely see it. And when he does, let's say he goes back up to 135. Now, he fights a Tank. If he fights somebody of that same caliber, if he fights a Frank Martin, there's a lot of people at that division. If he fights a Lomachenko, if we see Lomachenko come back at 135 and we see Navarrete eventually move up, hypothetically, back to 135, and now we see the brother going up against the best of the best in the division, because he will be seen as one of the best in the division if he wins against Oscar Valdez and then says, okay, I'm done, I'm moving back up, hypothetically. Now, it's going to bite him. It's going to bite him in the butt. Because at that point in time, everybody I just named has the ability to knock him out. Everybody. From Lomachenko, Tank, even somebody like a Shakur Stevenson. Oh, let's not forget, that is still a potential fight as we look down the line. If we see the landscape of boxing continue to change and evolve, and we see Navarrete move up and Shakur stay at 135. There's a lot of ifs. But brother, it's not out the question. Oh, not at all. And because of that, if Navarrete doesn't get that defense right and doesn't stop relying on his chin so fervently, it's going to get broken and cracked, just like we saw against Joe Joyce when he fought up against Zhang. And he was never the same. Next thing you know, Derek Chisora is coming in and knocking him out, or knocking him down, hurting him, wobbling him. Stone-faced killer ain't the same. Stone-faced killer with the crack in his face ain't the same killer. Because now you see, oh, there's an opening there. Somebody got through. Because somebody got through, somebody else that could be me has the ability to get through too. And so if Navarrete doesn't fix that, brother, we're going to have ourselves a very interesting affair for his career. But in all finality, who do I have winning this fight as we get back on topic? I got Navarrete winning again. I genuinely do. Because as much as I love Oscar Valdez, as much as I love his style, much as I love him as a fighter, no problem. Absolutely love him. The brother is going to fall back on the same tactics that he used the last time. And it's going to result to the same thing that we saw the last time. With him getting beat. With him in his face getting swollen and broken. With him getting overwhelmed. Unless he makes those changes. I'm not going to say it ends in a knockout. But if it goes to a decision, it's going to be unanimous. I genuinely believe it. If we don't see him make those changes of throwing the straight right, willingly walking forward instead of constantly looking for the counter and counter only, not letting Navarrete be able to get momentum as he comes forward with his own offense, and having the balance between counter puncher and brawler, he doesn't do that, he's not going to win. But if he does, oh, he's got a shot. He's got a shot at avenging himself. I can't wait for it, but I got Navarrete winning by unanimous decision. If not by doctor stoppage in about the 11th round, in my estimation. I could be wrong. That's what I got for now. That's definitely what I got for now. Also, as we continue in the landscape of boxing, we still got more to cover. As we have Teofimo Lopez has offered Devin, Haney, and Kambosos a fight. Oh, and both have declined, as per Michael Benson, who reported the news, and on Twitter as well. He said he gave both of them 55-45 per split. 5.4 million, I believe. I could be wrong. Somewhere around that range for the money that he would get guaranteed. And both Kambosos and Devin Haney declined to take a fight with him, which is surprising. Now, it's surprising on Kambosos because Kambosos has already won before. I don't know why you wouldn't take that fight, because you already beat him once. And two, with where your name is right now in the greater landscape of boxing, this is most likely going to be the biggest fight Kambosos can get. Hence, why would you not take it? Unless he's hurt, and I don't think he is. Unless he's got another fight lined up, and I don't think he does. Why would you not take that fight? Unless now you know, hey, I can't beat this version to you. But more so than Kambosos, I got an issue with Devin Haney. Devin, as much as this is more so about Devin Haney than Teofimo Lopez. As much as we know Teo is a great fighter, Devin Haney still has the ability to be and show what his elite talent can be. Why would you not go and shut up all the noise about what happened with Ryan Garcia and face off against Teofimo Lopez for Teo's belt to unify? Because again, you are still a champion. Technically, you have not lost before because the fight got nixed. Why are you not doing it? And it's crazy because we see Ryan Garcia already back in the limelight of fighting. Yes, it's an exhibition. Yes, it doesn't count for the record. But still, from what I can tell from the press conference, but that fight is not a Mike Tyson, Jake Paul situation. Oh, no, this it's a real, they're going for it. It's a real, they're going for it. We've seen Ryan Garcia go quiet. We've seen him not make all the abject stupidity that we saw him do on Twitter a couple of months ago. All of a sudden, it seems like he's locked back in to being like, okay, yeah, I got to prepare. Even in the midst of this banning, I still got to be sure I'm still me. Why is it that we haven't seen Devin Haney back in the ring yet? Why? Even against a novice type fighter, even against somebody far below his own skill level, why has he not gotten back in the ring? And is it because his confidence potentially is shot? Is it? Now, I want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts on this. When it comes to Devin Haney, why is it that he wouldn't take a fight like that unless, with all the talk and bravado that he's had about his career, about himself, about his talent, and about what he is as a boxer, why would he not take off and fight somebody like a Teofimo Lopez, unify, and then be hey, shut up all that noise? Nah, that Ryan Garcia fight, it was drugs. It was a fluke. I am indeed that bad brother. I am indeed that great. And because of that, this fight showed me, yeah, I'm still the best in the division. Then why would you not want to go that route instead of actively waiting and waiting? We know you've recovered. We know physically you're there. You're okay. With all the talk that we see with Bill Haney and everything else saying about you and your talent, why are you not fighting? If you are indeed the face of boxing, why not hold up that standard and fight somebody else who not only feels that they're the face of boxing, but also feels they're the best in the division? And by everybody else's account, myself included, Teofimo Lopez is the best in the division right now. Why would you not take that challenge unless you mentally are not there? Devin Haney mentally might be gone. And I don't say that as just an incendiary comment. Genuinely, we may see that Devin Haney mentally is no longer the same brother that we saw him as before. This is not the same Devin Haney that was outright confident. Not anymore. The way everything about him, especially how he's operating now, what we normally see from one of the more active fighters in the division, somebody who we were all touting, the buddy doesn't run from anybody, doesn't run from anybody, doesn't fake or run from any challenge. He fought Kambosos twice, though again after Kambosos beat Teofimo Lopez. He fought Ryan Garcia and he fought, who was the other brother? Who was it? Lomachenko. So of Tank, Shakur, Loma, Teo, and Devin Haney, and Ryan Garcia, he's fought, not Tank, he's fought Ryan Garcia, Lomachenko, and now Teofimo Lopez could be right there. And Kambosos, who beat Teo at that point in time. So he's taken on, at that point in time, every challenge that was legitimately available. Yet now you're not going to do it. Yet now you don't want to actually take the test. It makes me think that mentally something has snapped for the worse inside of Devin Haney. A man who normally was running smoke with the world. Now it's gone quiet. More so worried about suing than he is about getting in the ring. That's a problem. We may see that Devin Haney is never the same. I'm telling you, this fight with Ryan Garcia, regardless of what you want to say about it, this fight may have changed his brother. Mentally, it may have changed him. And we know the same. The fight game, boxing, is 90% mental, 10% physical. If you mentally are not there anymore to be able to do what you know you can do, and have that same level of self-belief against the best of the best, especially when you, as Devin Haney, are of the four people, of the four kings that were at that point in time, you're the only fully recognized undisputed champion. You can argue Stevenson Lopez as well, but even still, like, this isn't you, but now it is. What's going on? What's the problem? Why are you now all of a sudden not being and walking in the same bravado and same legitimate confidence that you had up until the Ryan Garcia fight? Why is it that Ryan Garcia is getting in the ring in any sort of capacity and you haven't yet? That doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense at all. Fight Buzz TV brother, how you doing? What's the word? What's going on? Where's the sound? There we go. Yes, indeed. Thank you for joining in on the fight. Who I got between Navarrete and Valdez. I covered it earlier in the show, right before I flipped to Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, and Devin Haney not taking the fight that was offered by Teo, and we're going to get back to that. But real quick, I got Navarrete beating Valdez because, again, like I said earlier, if we don't see Valdez use that straight right hand that had success in the first fight with Navarrete, if we don't see Valdez get from out of being strictly a counterpuncher like we saw him in the first fight and combine being a counterpuncher with a brawler as a means to actually get Navarrete not just caught, but actively to sway momentum back your way and not let Navarrete get that rolling momentum that makes him so dominant like we see, again, in comics, big comic book fan, like with the Juggernaut. Once the Juggernaut starts moving, brother, you ain't stopping him. You are not stopping that, brother. You can't do anything to get out of his way, nor to impede his progress. The only thing you can do is to get him to stop, is to stop him before he starts moving. That's what we need to see Oscar Valdez do against Navarrete. If we don't see him get more aggressive, be more of a brawler, and combine that with the countering ability that he did show in the first fight, and use that straight right hand to be able to actually get, not just in range, but to hurt and damage and score on Navarrete on a consistent basis. It's not going to happen. And we're going to see him get more dominated than in the first fight. It's going to be by unanimous decision for Navarrete or Dr. Stoppage in the 11th round. That's my prediction. Navarrete, unanimous decision, and or Dr. Stoppage in the 11th round by Navarrete. And hey, he retains champion. And at that point, if we see Oscar Valdez get injured and damaged like he did in the first fight, but it might be time to say, hey, time's starting to creep up on you, and the damage is starting to accumulate. Will Oscar stay around for any more longer? Not saying he's going to retire outright because he's still a warrior at heart. But we understand that this game is a dangerous game. It's a perilous game. This boxing game is a game that will rip asunder the very essence of your being. And because of that, there is no forgiveness that the sport will offer. Because you willingly stepped into the sport. It will rip parts of you away that you can't get back. And it's only a matter of time before eventually you're stripped down to the bone and there's nothing else you can do. I don't want that to happen for Oscar Valdez. And if we see the damage that we saw from the first fight would never happen again in this fight, I'm going to start having some questions. I'm going to start having some stuff to say. Hey, Oscar, brother, tread lightly for the rest of your career. Because at this age and with the damage you've taken and the wars you've done constantly, though that's why we love you, brother, I don't want to see a career end in perilous damage. And if we see this happen again with Navarrete, hey, buddy, we're going to have a conversation of, hey, times might be starting to wind up in the world of Oscar Valdez for how long he can be in the sport. But again, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Just my opinion. But appreciate you joining in. But quickly back to, what were we talking about? We were talking about, dang it. I lost my point. Shoot. What was I just saying? Doggone it. I done lost my point. Hold on. This don't happen. Normally I'm here. Again, Fight Buzz, you ain't do nothing wrong. I got to figure out where I was at. Oh, Devin Haney, that's what it was. Yep. Devin Haney. My bad. Last thing to say about Devin Haney. In this fight, turning down the fight with with Teofimo Lopez. Last thing. If we do indeed see Devin Haney as a changed man for the worse after what we saw with the Ryan Garcia fight, it begs the question, how long will he be in the sport from that point on? Because with potentially the mental damage and mental fatigue that fight with Ryan Garcia did to him, with going from him fighting everybody. We had no problems with Devin Haney, regardless of what you want to say about him being pillow-fisted, regardless of what you want to say about him not being a great puncher. The brother did take on Lomachenko. And the brother did take on a Kambosos who beat Teofimo Lopez. And at that point in time, the brother did take on Regis Progress, when that fight did happen, Regis was seen as the best at 140, legitimately. So he took on all the tests. Now, if all of a sudden we see a change and what seems to be a no-brainer, you fighting Teo for undisputed, or at minimum fighting somebody of a novice, anybody at this point, just to get back in the swing of things. And it's been this long and you ain't done nothing, let alone duck and smoke that we know, for regardless of what we want to say about you, that's not what you do. That's a problem. Oh, that's a problem. That's a very big problem indeed. We're gonna have some stuff. We're gonna have some conversations. We're gonna have some conversations. This keeps on going about where the mental state of Devin Haney is, and potentially what one more loss, if it does happen, will do to the psyche of Devin Haney fully. I'm telling you, it's not a good look for Devin Haney right now. From somebody who was indeed one of the pinnacles that we can look to and say, this is the steps you need to follow when it comes to taking on competition. It was an undeniable fact. Now, it's not happening anymore. And we got some concerns. We got some major concerns. But we just have to wait and see as time goes on what Devin Haney indeed does as his next steps. Because if you don't take on Teo, the landscape's still wide open for a lot of people at 140. But if you continue to wait around, that's a problem. That's a major problem. Because by now, you should have gotten in the ring. By now. If Ryan Garcia is getting back in the ring before you, that's a problem. That's a major problem. That is a major problem. Objectively, I don't care how you feel about the entire situation. That is a major problem. There's no denying that. And I have a problem with it. Anybody who is a boxing fan should have a problem with it. Devin Haney, lover or hater, you should have a problem with it. Because Devin Haney is still a big star in the division. And the brother got everything he wanted from the Ryan Garcia fight, with it getting overturned, with Ryan Garcia getting banned, with this, that, and the third. Everything that was a domino effect of Ryan Garcia getting popped dirty. You got everything you wanted. You recovered fully. Physically, you should be there. Why is it that your opposition is getting in the ring, even if it's in the exhibition, before you? And you still want to tout yourself as the face of boxing? Your father, Bill Haney, wants to keep on talking. If that's the case, you ain't moving like it. That's genuine. You just ain't moving like it. And it's horrible. In my opinion, it's absolutely horrible. But again, now Fight Buzz. Now you said Shakur. Now, what would you like to know about Shakur? Let's talk about that real quick. Because if you wanna, we can go back to the point that we had said earlier when it came to Shakur versus Floyd Schofield, and we can talk about that real quick. But is there anything else you wanted to know about Shakur specifically that you would like for me to go and question or give comments and concerns on? Because you're talking about Shakur versus Floyd Schofield. Real quick, my reaction to that fight, which we covered at the start of the show. When it comes to Shakur and Floyd Schofield, that fight is incredible. Don't get me wrong. Still got Shakur winning. Shakur is still the better fighter. Shakur is still the better boxer. Shakur technically is a whole lot better. Shakur, especially what we saw from Floyd Schofield in his last fight, when he got caught, got clipped, and got pushed to a level that we didn't expect him to get pushed to by that degree of opponent. No disrespect at all to Greeno. No disrespect at all to Rene Greeno. But still, or excuse me, Rene Guillon. Let me rephrase it. No disrespect to Rene Guillon. But going to a unanimous decision against a brother who also buzzed you, hurt you, and we knew technically you were better. It makes us, let's see, we got it. We got it. Okay, here we go. What to say? Just want your opinion on how Shakur is now labeled as a born, okay. See this? Okay. We got something now. Oh yeah, this is great. I don't know why my pop-up thing ain't working for the comment, but nah. Just want to hear your opinion on how Shakur, here we go, yep. There we go, it's working now. Just want to hear your opinion on how Shakur is now labeled as born. What do you think about that? See, now this is great. This is great. When it comes to Shakur being born, the problem with Shakur, the reason why I said that Shakur was born is not because Shakur isn't exciting as a boxer. Technically, that brother is so special. So special. It's so special. It's so great to watch. Absolutely. From a technical perspective, it is a Picasso of savantism. It's incredible. Just like with Lomachenko. Not putting him and Lomachenko on the same talent boxing category. But they ain't too far off. Even at this advanced stage, they ain't too far off. Lomachenko, I think, being the better, pure, again, matrix boxer. Again, another Picasso. They are exciting to watch from a technical perspective. But from the perspective of excitement, it is born. Now, we covered this in the past. Pernell Whitaker, James Toney, Floyd Mayweather, Napoleon Loche, Willie Pep. We can keep going on down the list. Multiple defensive fighters have been incredibly fun and exciting to see. Multiple of them. Andre Ward, another great technical specimen. Great. Lomachenko, as I said earlier. The technique is fun to see. But the problem is, with every fighter I just named, especially with people with likes of James Toney, Pernell Whitaker, they were defensive, absolutely. But they still used everything in their tool belt. We see Shakur, the problem is he's holding back. Shakur has the ability to do a lot more damage. Shakur has the ability to be a lot more of a casual fan's dream of an exciting fighter. Shakur can legitimately use more offense and actively be a more aggressive fighter. He's got the tools to be one, again, just like with James Toney. Though James Toney's league's better. Similar to James Toney. Similar to Pernell Whitaker. Similar to Floyd. Even Floyd as Money Floyd, before Pretty Boy Floyd. But we can go Pretty Boy as well. They all were exciting because they used everything. And it wasn't a situation where they were just content with winning. They actively went for the win. There's a difference. Shakur does just enough to win and nothing more. When we know against every opposition, the brother can get you out of there if he fully went and actively tried once he gets you fully figured out, which we've seen him have countless times. Artem Aratunian got him hurt, was figured him out, was winning on the inside, was beating him at his own game in terms of beating Artem in Artem's own range, yet he didn't get him out of there. When he had him hurt, what did he say after the post-fight press conference? He said, well, you can't, everybody's dangerous. And he has said in the past that you don't want to, like with De Los Santos, the brother's got power and pop adjacent to my hand injury. Brother got power and pop. You don't want to put yourself at risk. He had Artem Aratunian hurt. Asked, why didn't you go for the win and go for the KO when you had Artem hurt? Well, a hurt fighter is the most dangerous fighter. A cornered animal is one of the most dangerous animals because they get desperate. They can catch you with anything. So if an opponent is dangerous when they start the fight and then dangerous when they end the fight, brother, and they're too dangerous from Shakur's perspective to do anything, to put yourself as too big of a risk. When is anybody not dangerous at that point? Is there ever a green light to go for it? Is there ever? Again, you knocked out Yoshino, and that brother at that point in time was a dangerous KO fighter. What the world? Why did that stop? Stuff like that, we didn't see that with Floyd. We didn't see that with Pernell Whitaker. We didn't see that with James Toney. Even with the likes of Napoleon Loche. It was still like, hey, the brother, even though he wasn't a knockout artist, the brother still, when you watched him fight, He put on a show. He used everything in his arsenal. He would stick his head out with his guard down and simply bob side to side for 8 or 9 jabs and then get away from a body shot with the greatest of ease. He clowned you, and the brother smoked packs in between rounds. And that brother, we had no qualms with him being a defensive fighter, a light puncher, a pillow-fisted fighter, quote-unquote, because the brother genuinely was exciting, and he used everything. Shakur doesn't do that. And it's not the same thing as Shakur. It's not the same thing as, oh, I don't need to use all my tools to beat you. I just need a few things, and I can get you out of there. There's a difference in that, because they can still get you out of there. You're still using those 1 or 2 or 3 skill sets that you need to beat an opponent, even if you don't need your full arsenal. You use them to the fullest of their extent. Shakur doesn't do that. And he's always saying, forget the fans, I'm just trying to win the fight. You are winning the fight. But if we say that you're holding back, we've seen other fighters hold back and still use whatever they are using to the fullest to get whoever they're fighting out of there, or dominate in a fashion that, oh yeah, oh, this brother's just great. Oh, it's not boring to watch. It's we feel the legitimate talent through the screen. With Shakur, we see the talent. We don't feel it. I'm not saying there's a lack of passion. Never going to question that for anybody in boxing. But there's a lack of genuine pushing the envelope. There's a lack of actively letting yourself be like, yeah, I got you figured out. Because I got you figured out to the point I can take the risk, and because I know what I'm doing, it's no issue for me to try to get you out of there and up the aggression, up the ante. Look, not just to put on a show, but to win in dominating fashion. I can still look to finish the fight while still being safe. Shakur's got that ability because he doesn't do it. He doesn't look to end the night when an opening is there. He just looks to win the night. I said that earlier. And when you just look to do just enough to win, that's a major problem. I don't care who you're a fan of. That's a major problem. If we saw Tank fighting like we saw Shakur, even with the power that he's got, we would all be saying, brother, what the world are you doing? With the power that you have, why in the world are you not actively putting yourself in dangerous situations when we know you understand how to negate everything that an opponent may do? Why are you still letting them sit around instead of actively now upping the ante to look to push him out? That's as simple as that. It's not about if you get the knockout or not. It's not about if you dominate or not. We get it. A fight can happen. It can be a tough fight. But the problem is, if we know you can do more, and we've seen you do more, and all of a sudden against every opponent, you're doing the bare minimum, that's a problem. That is a major problem. Regardless of who you're a fan of. That's a problem. There's a difference in I can't get the guy out of there, or he was tougher than I expected, versus I can just phone it in and be, hey, I got the win. I'm okay. Fans, we know the difference. Casuals know the difference. Hardcore fans, everybody knows and sees the difference. That's what makes Shakur born. That is exactly what makes Shakur born. We see that you're phoning it in when we know you can do so much more. And even in the microcosms that you use to beat most opponents, you could use those same skill sets to the fullest of extents, even if you're only using a set portion. And you still don't even do that. Yes, we're going to call you born. Absolutely. That's the problem. Not about you. It's not about you being a KO artist. It's about you not doing everything we know you can do. And we see it in every fight that we watch you. That's the problem. That's the issue. Right then and there. And again, Jay Will, yeah, Paulie Malignaggi was a 2-division champion. I hated watching that brother fight. I despise that brother. His takes now, I still despise. Just personal preference. From him on Pro Box to him in the ring, I never liked to watch him fight. But guess what? I couldn't call him born. I couldn't. And that brother couldn't get any KOs at all. And he was a 2-division champ. as light-fisted as they can come. Yet the brother still didn't have the I didn't even read the second part. He did not have the level of power that Shakur has. Shakur got more power than that. Shakur can use his grown man strength that he's grown into. He can put a lot of people out. This is a big kid that we're talking about. This is a big brother that we're talking about from a physical standpoint. That brother carries more power than he actively uses. We've seen him shove and move Artem around the ring. We've seen him in the clinch walk opponents to the corner. We've seen this brother bully opponents countless times when he wants to come forward. We've seen other opponents when they try to use their own physical strength against him. There's all of a sudden it's oh shoot, I wasn't expecting this. Similar to what we saw with Terrence Crawford when he fought against Errol Spence Jr. The brother, when Errol went in the clinch against Terrence and Terrence pushed him back, all of a sudden it was like, well, we said that Spence was going to be stronger. I was one of the few people that said, nah, watch, we're going to see Terrence Crawford muscle Spence around the ring. You can go watch the breakdown. I did 3 of them. I said the same thing. You can go watch my prediction. Fight by fight, punch for punch. I said the exact same thing. That we would see Terrence push and muscle Spence around because Terrence is deceptively strong and people don't realize it. Shakur's got that same ability and got great power. He genuinely does. It's not just knockout power. It's not knockout power, but it's like it's a snappy power. It is indeed great. It can be great if he used it more, but he doesn't willingly. That's the problem. That's the problem. And yeah, see, and again, Paulie, brother's always yelling. And I have no problem with personalities. I talk about substance. Again, I'm loud. You see me now. I'm trying to get on TV. I'm trying to get on ESPN in other ways. This may be the very way to do it. I can turn this into a Pat McAfee show. Potentially, if this keeps on growing and we get it so that we can get guests around the world, panel of people coming in like a revolving door of who's who just walks into the studio. We'd love to have that happen. But I'm loud. I get it. Absolutely. I'm my own personality. But at the same time, the substance that I try to say genuinely, I try to make it, hey, I try to give you all something that you can learn from. Anybody, hardcore or casual, whether it's in the NBA, whether it's in boxing, whether it's even in the NFL. I try to be as educated as possible, and be as eloquent as possible, to make sure everybody can enjoy and have some fun, laugh and learn. That's what I want. But when it comes to Paulie, sometimes that brother, look, I never discredit experience. Never. You've been in the ring. I haven't. You've done the work. I haven't. You've been a champion. I haven't. But that doesn't take away that sometimes just like in basketball, a player that plays the game doesn't always know the game. Look at Rashard McCants. Look at, in some situations, Gilbert Arenas, Kenyon Martin, the whole Gills Arena at some point. But they know the game. They played the game. But sometimes they don't know the game. You get what I'm saying? There is a difference. And with Paulie, in some situations, more than I would like to hear from him, the brother, while he played the game, absolutely, never questioned his talent. Regardless of how I feel about him as a boxer, I can't question his talent, but I can question, do you really know the game? In some situations, hey, Timothy Bradley, same reason. Brother fought the game, played the game, played it well. Does he know the game? Some situations, not. Some situations, not. Let's see. So, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, here we go. Nitty gritty now. Tank in his 30s and has never unified or taken a big risk. Thoughts? I had a whole show. I had a whole couple shows on this. And anybody who's a Tank fan that's listening, also, real quick before I answer your question, please, if you would, clap it up for yourselves for joining in for this long, hour 22. And also, please share the show with people to get them involved as well. And keep on liking the stream, because this is a live show we do every single week. It's Thanksgiving special that we got going on right now to get everybody informed before the holidays fully come into a commit. Before we're all going to a food coma. Get everybody involved. Share the show with everybody. We're available on every podcasting platform imaginable, so you can keep on listening and enjoying all throughout the weeks and months. Go back and listen to stuff, share it with everybody, listen around the round table. Well, absolutely. We also do live fight commentaries as well. If you would like to tune in and listen, absolutely. But again, shameless plug aside, gotta get that promotion out somewhere. But answer your question. Tank is in his 30s, never unified or taking a risk. What's my thoughts on this? Well, Tank has taken some risk, but it was up to a point similar to Canelo. Tank took risk with Gamboa, even though Gamboa, again, past his prime, Achilles injury in a fight, knocked him out. Cool. Leo Santa Cruz, knocked him out. Great fight. And some wary stuff with weight and stuff, some people may argue, but even still, objectively, one of his better wins. Ryan Garcia, big star, great talent. Though I said that he wasn't anywhere close to the skill level, it was still, from an objective perspective, you could call it a legitimate risk. No problem. And then he stopped. The problem is, just like with Canelo, Tank has the ability to unify. And Tank was 22 and unbeaten and beat Pedraza. Absolutely right. Jay, well, you're absolutely right. He beat Pedraza at 22 years old. Got a title and was looking to be. Floyd Schofield is 22 years old right now. And Tank did that at 22. Mike Tyson won the heavyweight championship at 21 years old. Youngest heavyweight champion in history. Beating Casamato's old protege, Floyd Patterson. So we've seen talents like this before accomplish so much. Pacquiao, great champion, at an incredible young age and was moving through the ranks. In a way, at the same age right now, was champion, moving through 118, went through 120. He's in a way, he's the same age as Tank Davis. He is a two-time undisputed champion. He is undefeated. He has faced off against the top 5, 1 through 5, in every division he has fought against. And in most of them, he moved up and fought the best guy first. No questions asked. This is the problem with Tank. Tank is a brother whose talent and resume will never align. You will never, where's my music? You will never be great. You will never be as great as we think you can be, because of your ineptitude as a boxer to fight the people that we know you should be able to get in the ring with at this point. There is no reason in my mind that Loma shouldn't have happened already. Even before the whole stepping away from boxing. There's no reason why Loma shouldn't have happened before that. And this is, again, after getting from under the tutelage of Floyd Mayweather. Understand, a lot of the fights that we didn't get was due to Floyd as Tank's promoter. We've covered that on the past episode. That was one of the biggest things. But once Tank became his own, went from under Floyd and became essentially his own promoter, his own man, he went and still didn't fight those people. He went and fought Hector Luis Garcia. He went and fought Lamont Roach. Fighting Lamont Roach now instead of going after unifying at 135, becoming undisputed at 135, which at this point should be a breeze. And he won't do that. Brother had Teofimo Lopez, Shakur, Lomachenko, Devin, Haney, all in the same division and didn't do a doggone thing about it. He fought Frank Martin, another, again, legitimate risk. Great boxer, loved him. I was saying that was the fight that put Tank in my top 10 pound for pound. Because previously he hadn't done that because he hadn't done anything. He stopped doing stuff, excuse me. Frank Martin was the fight that put him back into my pound for pound top 10. Because that should have been the start of him going through and doing champions or top contenders or bust and nothing else. And now we see this brother going back down the ladder at a division he already moved out of. At a division he would knock out every single opponent within 3 rounds if he fought against them at 130. No questions asked. There is nobody in any capacity below 130 that has a shot at beating Tank in the slightest, yet he's fighting him. Yet he could have, again, gone after a title. He could have, again, been undisputed at 135 as we speak today. He could have already gotten in the ring with Shakur Stevenson. He could have, again, fought Lomachenko there was a small amount of time when Tank was free from promoter and when Tank was free from Floyd and Loma didn't have a fight. He could have made that fight. Yet he went and fought Hector Luis Garcia. Didn't call him out afterwards either. Didn't call him out after Frank Martin. Has had a hit list. This brother has had a hit list. This brother's had a hit list for how many years? And the very names that Jay Will just put in the chat. Devin, Teo, Loma, Shakur has not fought a doggone one. And we want to talk about him as the face of boxing. He is nothing when it comes to the sport of boxing in the grand scheme of being seen as elite. From an accolades perspective, because I have been saying, I am not a Tank hater. Brother, Tank is somebody who genuinely, I mean genuinely, has the talent to be the best in the world. At minimum top 3. He could overtake Usyk, and he could be right on par with Inoue and Terrence Crawford. I think Inoue, as a talent perspective, is the best in boxing right now. Terrence Crawford is second, if not tied outright. And then Tank could be third. No questions, no comments, no concerns. Pound for pound, that should be the list. But the problem is it ain't, because he hasn't done a thing. He thinks he's bigger than the belts. The only person that was bigger than the belts is Ali. And arguably, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. That's it. And they still weren't. Nobody's bigger. As much as I hate sanctioning bodies, as much as I hate belt commissions, as much as I hate what the sport has turned into from a perspective of purist boxing, the corruption, the crime, the deceit, the lies, not giving fighters their actual opportunity. It's a crime chain, and it should not be that this is what's happening. It shouldn't be. But regardless of that, you're not bigger than the belt. You're not bigger than what have you done. Who have you fought? You ain't fought anybody after you fought Leo Santa Cruz. Ryan Garcia. After Ryan Garcia, you haven't fought anybody. And even with Ryan Garcia, there's so many caveats. Good gosh, who knows? But even still, the only talent you need to face was either Shakur or move up to 140. Or go after undisputed, at least get unified, and then go move up. But you didn't even do that. As a talent, you are top 3. But as a boxer, in everything, greatness, you'll never be what you should have been. And brother, your prime is winding up. The very thing that makes you so great isn't just your IQ, but your athletic ability. Your prime is winding up. If that explosiveness goes, and it can go at any time. If that explosiveness goes against the wrong opponent, brother, you're done. I'll say that right now. I don't say that because I'm hating. I say that because one of Tank's biggest accolades isn't just the fact, or its biggest talents isn't just the fact that he is technical, but physically he's so explosive, like Russell Westbrook. Not comparing the two, but like Russell Westbrook, Derrick Rose, John Morant, so explosive, getting off the ground and getting where he wants to go. Incredible. That's what makes him, that combined with technical understanding, phenomenal. But brother, if you don't, at this point, you're still in your prime. But if you keep on waiting around like this, by the time you actually fight somebody, what we saw you as when it comes to a favorite, you may not be. Because like with Canelo, the longer you wait, the more we see somebody else is starting to get the upper hand on their ability to actually beat you. Like with David Benavidez. As much as we know Tank is a savant, but there's no point in wasting time, wasting your own career, knowing that you can make so much more money now if you went and fought everybody now. Like you could. You could go back to back to back with the amount of business, power, and legitimate star power that you carry. Teo, Devin, Ryan, back to back to back. Right then and there. Shakur in that list. Demand to fight. What they gonna do? Say no? Because you're Tank. That's the biggest pay they're gonna get. You will be the A side in almost every situation. If you want to worry about money, you can have any fight you want, but you won't. Because you don't want to be as great as you can be. And because of that, we're gonna hold it against you. We will hold it against you. I don't care how good you may think you are. You are not bigger than what actually makes somebody great, which is who you beat, what you've done, and you haven't done anything. It's such a frustrating thing. It's such a frustrating thing. They were calling Ryan, Tank, Devin, and Tio the four kings. Ryan's the only one who's fought two of them. That's it. Like, that's the thing. As much as we can say what you want about Ryan Garcia, Ryan has been the guy that has fought and gone through two of the big four of this generation of boxing in terms of star power. That's it. You cannot like him. You can say what you want about him, but from a pure boxing perspective, that brother's done everything that we wanted every other fighter to do. He's the only one that's actually made fights with the people that we want to make fights with. That you can't say nothing about it. You can't say nothing bad about him in that regard. In that regard. Talent, you can argue and debate. Persona, absolutely, you can talk about. Can't talk about what that brother tried to do. You can't talk about his heart. Never. You can never talk about that. That's why I love Ryan Garcia for that. The other stuff, I got issues with. Absolutely. But that, you can't tell me anything about Ryan Garcia outside of, brother, he winning. If he can fight you, he's gonna fight you. He will make an effort. Nobody else in the division has. Nobody. Even with the likes of Devin Haney, he used to. Don't no more. He don't no more. It's crying shame. Crying shame indeed. But again, here we go. Do you not put heavyweights on the pound list? No, I do. I absolutely do. When it comes to heavyweights and pound for pound, again, my pound for pound criteria, I've said this in the past. Anybody can make it. I don't care who you are. I'm not the type of guy who, heavyweights can't be in it. Small fighters can't be in it. 108, 110 pounds. You're too small. No. Greatness is greatness, regardless of what you are. We still have, in basketball, we still got Isaiah Thomas, one of the greatest point guards in history. One of the greatest players in history, regardless of his height and size and position. Like, plain and simple. Isaiah Thomas, one of the greatest scorers of his era at that point in time. Isaiah Thomas in Boston at that point in time was seen as one of the most lethal scorers in basketball. And the brother was 5'4". 5'5", excuse me. He was still seen as one of the top players in the NBA, regardless of what his height was. It's illegitimate what your weight class is. What you do. And here's my criteria. It's your talent, legitimate ability. Your talent and legitimate ability. Who you fight. The accolades that you accumulate. The consistency at which you fight. As well as ultimately, when it's all said and done, when we look back on it, hey, even what did it all stack up to? All of that rounds out to what makes you great. Your accolades, your talent, the people that you face, the consistency that you fight. Those are the things that make you indeed great. And by the way, it was 5 things. It was 5 things. It was the talent that you face, the talent that you actually have, the accolades that you garner, the consistency at which you fight, and the dominance that you perform on a night-to-night basis compared to everybody else in your same caliber. To every other opponent, if you are whitewashing everybody at such a high scale, regardless of their rank the same way, that accounts for something. Absolutely. None of those are the end-all be-all. But all of that encapsulated, for me, is what makes you pound for pound. And so absolutely heavyweights can be my pound for pound. Right now, I have NOA 1, Terrence Crawford 2, and Usyk 3. And again, it's fluid. It's not, pound for pound isn't just end-all be-all. There's some things that are non-negotiable in terms of who should be in it. and to a degree, who should be in what position. 1 through 3, 4 through 6, 7 through 10. There is a gauge that some people just objectively, you can't say he reached there for certain tiers in that top 10. But top 10, yeah, you can still put him in there. Absolutely. In fact, I made my top 10 a while ago. I got to find the list, but I got Inoue 1, Crawford 2. No, excuse me. Yeah, Inoue 1, Crawford 2, Usyk 3. I had Usyk at 1. And if we see Usyk beat Fury again, he's going back to 1. I'm sorry. He's going back. He has to. In my estimation, I got to respect what that accomplishment is. As the smallest heavyweight in the division, you still going and beating AJ twice. You've beaten about every other contender, genuinely. And then you beat Tyson Fury twice. At that point in time, the Tyson Fury you just beat was, in my estimation, the best Tyson Fury we had seen since Klitschko. Like, no. I have to respect that. On top of the other things that you had done. So no. But no, you can be a heavyweight, absolutely, and be in pound for pound. I wish there were more heavyweights that could fit that criteria. The problem is, most of them don't have the talent. That's frustrating. That's frustrating. It's frustrating because most of them, as big as they are, old heavyweights used to be. You could have a couple of heavyweights in the pound for pound because all of them had the talent of the smaller weight classes. So it wasn't a heavyweight fight that looked like a heavyweight fight. It was a heavyweight fight that had the implications of a heavyweight fight, but had the skill of a middleweight, of a light heavyweight, of a welterweight in some cases. It was incredible. Now we don't have that. Size beats everything is the mentality. But that's not what actually makes you great. Talent. Because we see with Usyk, once you put talent for talent against anybody, Usyk beats everybody. Usyk beats everybody. And he's beaten everybody. Plain and simple. What's my top 5 in its entirety? And is there any movement? Well, great question, but on the arc, if my top 5 in its entirety, if I can get my list right, I might have to pull it up. So excuse me for a moment, but I believe, if I remember correctly, it was Usyk, no, not Usyk, excuse me. Inoue, Crawford, Usyk, Beterbiev, and then Baron Rodriguez. And then Bivol, well, actually, no. No, that's wrong. Excuse me, that's wrong. Inoue at 1. Terrence Crawford at 2. Usyk at 3. At 4, Beterbiev. At 5, Bivol. Then at 6, Baron Rodriguez. That's what it was. Yep, that's what it was. Hopefully that clears everything up. That's what it was. That's what it is, currently. There can definitely be some shakeup. Again, Usyk beating Fury most likely gets moved back up to number 1. Inoue beats Sam Goodman. Most likely he keeps that same spot, if not going lower. In terms of, again, being at 2 instead of 1, just because Sam Goodman isn't that test that helps you elevate, though we know what the talent is. Absolutely. Terrence Crawford, if we see Terrence Crawford, again, go at 154 and dominate, or dare I say, in the future face off against Canelo and beat Canelo, because that's still the fight he's looking for. Well, he shoots up number 1, plain and simple. If he beats Bakwa, we got an argument for number 1. He KOs Bakwa, we got an argument for number 1. But what Bakwa just did to Tim Tszyu, my gosh, oh, that brother's a killer. Killer in the most blatant form. And so, yeah, okay, I feel you. We got some other pound for pounds. I can respect it. Usyk, Bud, Inoue, Beterbiev, Canelo in my top 5. I get the Canelo. Yeah, okay, see? And you know what? No problem there. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But the criticism for Canelo, as you said, is justified. It's not that he isn't great. The talent that he brings versus what he is producing with said talent is not what needs to be done to make you indeed be seen as a top 5 contender in my estimation. Again, I got him 7th. And it's only because by virtue of being undisputed in super middleweight and still putting on dominating performances. Even if it is against competition that is at this point in time, well below what it should have been, which is only one man, and that is Benavidez. But that fight ain't happening. But I completely get what you're saying. Hey, Welch, how can we do? Well, hold on, wait a minute. Oh, we got some money questions. Oh, wait a minute now. Oh, shoot, we got money. You want to give me some money? Well, that requires monetization. Yes, sadly, we yet on this channel are monetized to be able to go and receive gifts, donations, and whatnot. And again, I want to do this for a living. I do this ultimately for the love of you, all. I want to make this a global brand. I want to make this so that anybody can be able to come in, sit, enjoy, talk, have guests, and truly entertain the masses. The Kai Cenat of the sports media landscape as per se. We'd love to have that as an opportunity. But even still, right now, to get to that, got to get monetized first. And that requires watch time, watch hours, getting people to constantly click on clips and videos. The whole thing is, was it 4,000 hours of watch time, 1,000 subscribers and whatnot? We reached the 1,000 mark, thankfully, and give credit to you all. Thank you so much for all your support and help. But we're still trying to get the watch time up, getting the podcast episodes and the clips upset podcast. All that stuff equates to YouTube saying, hey, you can do it. And so, but now at this point in time, it's a waiting game at this point. Well, again, I'm doing this for the love of the game. I am trying to make this a career. Don't get it twisted. It's just that I went to college for this. I went to college for this. But in the meantime, to while I'm working to make money in the industry, doing my own thing. And so we're trying to see what we can do. So that's what all this is about, trying to build up this channel. Again, build an empire. So we want to make it so that this show is quality enough to be self-sustaining. And we don't ask for money, but if we can get money, hey, no problem there. And if we can get sponsorships, that'll be the biggest thing. My gosh, if we can get somebody like DraftKings, FanDuel, I don't even drink, but let's say Hennessy. Oh my gosh, hey. Well, actually, maybe that goes against maybe not Hennessy, because I don't want to, that could lead to some bad. Oh boy, oh my, some of y'all in the chat you may not be able to chat, because all of a sudden, hey, we'll drink to the show. Next thing you know, I ain't got no viewers because all of y'all are passed out. Can't be having that. Can't be having that. But I'm just playing. I'm just kidding. But hey, we're working to make it happen. And when we do, I'll let you know. Trust and believe. And then you can donate, have super chats, all this stuff. And we can help build this show for the better. Absolutely. Invest back into the show. That's what we want to do. As well as in my own pocket as well. But back into the show. That's what we want to do. Tuition and also. But back into the show is the biggest thing. Back into the show is what we want to do to make the show as big and grand as we can do. But Cash App, hey, I haven't thought of that. I genuinely haven't thought of that. Maybe because I'm reserved. Never really thought it. Maybe I'll think about that. I'll think about putting my Cash App in the thing to make it so that people can donate if they want to the show as we build organically. Again, the goal is to make it so we can get sponsors. So nobody has to donate. If you want to, you can. But we can have it so we can get paid for the show. Paid by the viewer. Paid by the ad. Oh, yeah. Oh, y'all going to hate me when I get ads. Oh, we're going to have every 5 seconds, every 5 words. It's going to be a pop-up. It's gonna be a landscape of ruin. But money in my pockets. That's what I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, I'll think about it. I'm trying to get some new stuff with overlays with the screen, make it a little more exciting and engaging. So maybe in the future we'll put some stuff on the screen, not just to make it more eye-catching and more entertaining to watch, but also, if you want to donate while we're getting monetized, hey, you can do it. Absolutely. Let's see. I want to send you a gift, bro. You're gonna go far. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, see. This is. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man. It means a lot to me. Glad that you want to help me out. We all trying to just make it big. We all in this whole world together. I'm blessed with a keen eye to entertain and hey, have some level of wisdom to be able to talk and conversate. But hey, we want to make it happen. All this is about you all. Yeah, my dream is to become big and famous and all that stuff. But all of this is for you. because we want to make something to where we can change people genuinely, make an impact. That's what we want. Whether it's in basketball or boxing, everybody can come and tune in. Everybody's welcome, whether you got money or not. Sports is about camaraderie, unity. So I'm making it so that we are all witnessing the same thing while we're all interpreting it different ways. I'm here to be a guide, not just to debate, not just to talk, but to help tell the story of the ecosystem of sports as a whole, an oracle of sorts. That's what I'm trying to be. Because as much as we want to say everybody's got their opinions, biggest thing about the sports world, you want to tell the story the right way. You want to make it so that history is told correctly. Because if not, at that point, when future greats do indeed become great, we misinterpret where their greatness actually ranks. Because history's been muddied and ruined and sullied with opinions that, again, everybody can have them. But we went off track of what the reality of the legitimate story of the sports world actually was in whatever specific sport that we're talking about. Hence why I go so hard with trying to be as objective and unbiased, whether it's in boxing or basketball or anything. As much as I can have my opinions on what it is. The result is the result. The tape is the tape. The stats and the footage are the stats and the footage. And the context around all these things tell truly what exactly the story should be. Plain and simple. We can debate on what the story is going to be, but never try to rewrite history. Put history in its context, but understand that it is still history. And you have to reach a certain level to reach said history if you want to be great. That's what we're trying to do. What state am I? Oh, what state am I in? Oh, hey. You fed? Huh? Is that who you are? Do we need to? Oh my! Do we need to? You a cop? Is that who you are? You trying to get me ousted? You scammer? I'm kidding. Nah, I'm kidding. But I'm from North Carolina. That's right, Southern boy, homegrown. I ain't gonna give y'all the city. You ain't gonna know that much. But hey, North Carolina, yes sir, from the South. Oh, go the good old South. Well, hold on. Let me rephrase that. Not the good old South like that. In terms of the whole, not the good old boy South. I ain't cool with that. But I'm from the good South, where homegrown North Carolina, we got forests and trees, different types of weather, all 4 seasons. It's cold and hot, bipolar every day, and look, okay, see, where's it? Look, beyond the art. Brother, I'm sorry. No, I don't mean that. That's not the type of South I meant. That's not the type of South I'm talking about. Okay, look, you see what color I am? We can't rock with certain things that again, we got J. Cole. Love it. Absolutely. We had the baby before he went downhill. But hey, we look now. Okay, we can't be down with the good old South. We down with the good South, okay? We'll say that. The good South is what we down with, not the good old South. Because the good old South, I probably couldn't do this show. If we can be completely honest, I probably couldn't do this show if it was the good old South. But again, we'll backtrack. We got comments galore. Oh my gosh. I went to, wait a minute. Basic training in South Carolina, Fort Jackson. Well, hey, fellow, Carolinian, we connected North and South. I envy you and your gas prices. I hate the fact that y'all are cheaper than us in about every which way. It irks me to my core. We the better state. What's wrong with you? How dare you? I'm kidding. I'm messing. I'm kidding. I don't want to alienate anybody. Please. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. No disrespect to anybody's state. I'm just a state rivalry is all. I apologize. Again, excuse me. No qualms with South Carolina at all. But hey, cool that you went to basic training in South Carolina and in Fort Jackson. Hey, props to you, man. For real. Props to you. Credit. I'm glad that you went. Glad that you made it out. Right? Glad that you're able to be here and join us. So I appreciate it. I really do. I truly, truly do. And good gosh, we got a lot of stuff. Shoot, this is a great, man. Maybe this is why people got mods on their streams. People can go and actually doggone. What's it? Gotta get TikTok. Look, my TikTok's messing up. I don't know what the world is going on with that. I've been trying to fix it. Brother, I had one. It was gaining steam. All of a sudden, everything got banned. And it was like, what did I do? Apparently, I showed violence because I showed clips of boxing matches that I was breaking down for the fights, literally like I do on YouTube. And it was plain and stupid, but either way. Off topic, Prime Roy Jones versus Hagler. Who you taking? My gosh, at 160? Ooh, I'm taking Roy. I'm taking Roy. I'm taking Roy. And oh gosh, that is tough. Wait a minute. Oh shoot. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I never even thought of that match. Roy Jones versus Marvin Hagler in his prime. I'm taking Roy. But it is not for any disrespect to Marvin Hagler. Again, the closest thing we got to that was Marvin Hagler versus Sugar Ray Leonard. Marvin Hagler was robbed versus that fight with Sugar Ray Leonard. Understand that right now. That's the only, Marvin Hagler got robbed against Sugar Ray Leonard. And I hate the fact that marvelous Marvin Hagler beat Sugar Ray and got robbed. And then was like, I'm done. There's no point. I know I won this fight. And he did win that fight, objectively. It was incredibly close. But no, he would have won. He should have won. He did win in terms of the fight with Sugar Ray Leonard. But against Roy Jones Jr., though, if Roy got caught from Hagler, it would be a problem. Because we know, objectively, his chin, for all intents and purposes, was always a concern. It was. Even though he got caught later in his career, once he moved back down, it was still. The brother could take a punch, but when I was watching him, I always felt something is off when it comes to Roy Jones getting hit. And if he got hit clean by the right person, it could happen. Just happened if it was against what was it? Shoot, I'm forgetting his name. I know who he got knocked out by. He beat him the first time in a close fight, and he got knocked out in the second fight. And he questions now, Roy. What was his name? Shoot. Doggone it. I know this. I should know this. What was his name? He played in the Rocky movie. Shoot. Doggone it. Antonio Tarver. That's what it was. Appreciate it. Thank y'all. Yes, Antonio Tarver. He fought against Antonio Tarver and beat him. First time. Second time, got knocked out. Yeah, it was against Antonio Tarver. You know, the right guy came along. And then, again, Tarver is not better than Roy. And when Roy went back down from heavyweight, back down to 175, I believe, 168, 175 to fight Tarver, and then got beat, the weight cut is what ultimately ruined him. Was never the same. Never the same after moving up to heavyweight and moving back down so quickly. Never the same. Never the same. So, absolutely. But I think that it would be from a talent, Roy Jones, I've always said, is arguably the greatest talent in boxing history outside of Sugar Ray Robinson. And arguably, objectively, is just the greatest talent, period, that I've seen from everything perspective. Speed, power, footwork, angles, and the ability, again, to do everything so wrong that it is right, only because he was Roy. It was a different animal. Absolutely. From a pure talent standpoint, might be the greatest I've seen. But when it comes to facing off against Hagler, he had everything that Leonard had. While at the same time, as much as Leonard was great, he had even more dexterity and had better power. That would have been the thing that could have given Hagler some more trouble, made him a little more hesitant. I'm not saying he's got Mungabe, well, actually, his argument, shoot, with the power that he carried, just in his light punches and the combination that he threw. He didn't have Mungabe power. But, brother, it's hard to argue that he didn't have something close to it. With that level of footwork and ability to outbox from the outside and the speed that would have given him such a great advantage and the overall, at that point in time, Roy. The heart that he would show that when it came down to getting nitty and gritty, the brother would get into a fight and he could brawl with the best of them, just like with Ray Leonard. But overall was a better talent. I'm thinking that he would beat him. It would be a close fight, but I think it would be objective, in my estimation, that Roy Jones would beat him. He wouldn't knock him out. That ain't happening. That ain't happening. He has the ability to, but he ain't knocking Marvin out. But it would be, he's beating him. He's beating him. At least beating him once. He's definitively beating him once. Second time around, who knows? Because Marvin's Marvin. It's hard for me to say that you beating that brother 2 times in a row. Only person I could say that would happen to, objectively, would be Roy Jones Jr. That's it. That is it. That is it. That's the only brother. So I would say Roy's beating him in an incredibly close affair. Because that speed and the ability to do everything so raw would be something, genuinely, that would be a bigger challenge than what we saw with Ray Leonard versus Hagler. Genuine, in my estimation. That's just because of what I know about Roy and what I know about Leonard. I think Roy would be able to beat him, but it wouldn't be controversial. I think it would be close, but it would be accepted, and I wouldn't have no problem with that. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Because Roy from 35 at 35 dropped from heavyweight to light heavyweight. It was too big. It was too big. Anybody who drops that far, it's too much of a weight cut to genuinely be healthy. You gotta always ease into it. So I'm glad anyways taking time to reign at 122 instead of moving up from 122 to 125 to 127 to whatever the case, to go all the way up to 130 all of a sudden fight Tank now. That's ridiculous. Grow into the weight, get comfortable, then work your way up. Everybody ain't Manny Pacquiao. And everybody ain't Roy Jones Jr. And the key is moving up is a lot easier than when you want to move back down. That's the key. Some people can sustain moving up. But once you take one dip down, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. That's probably why I think that we'll see Canelo never move back up to 175 again. Because he was fortunate that brother didn't permanently lose an aspect of his ability. When he moved back down to 175, when he moved back down from 175 to 168. So this is why he's only fighting for potentially undisputed against Bebo. That's the only fight that he really wants. Because he ain't making that mistake again. Never again. Never again. And yes, see, on the Floyd side, on the Leonard side, Roy was bigger than Ray Leonard. Objectively, naturally. Leonard had pop and power, absolutely. But Roy was objectively bigger and objectively stronger, pound for pound. Roy had more pop than Leonard. Though Leonard was a dog in every sense of the word. Leonard had pop too, but Roy, it was a different level. That brother could, again, throw 3-punch combinations with the same hook, and all of them had the same level of destructive power. Short shots, long shots, loaded up, everything. Compact, no punch lacked anything. Short, of knockout ability. Roy, he was an anomaly. He was an anomaly all unto himself. That people only wish that they could ever reach to. People only can compare semblances of. And turn to people like Boots Ennis. When they are nowhere close to Roy Jones. Nowhere. Roy, like I said in the last episode, Roy was of the same ilk. Roy was around the same time that Floyd was on the come up as Pretty Boy. In fact, Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather's prime was around Roy Jones Jr.'s prime. And nobody said anything about Floyd because there was no contest. Floyd has never been and will never be a better boxer, a better fighter than Roy Jones Jr. That's just objectively true. Because when they were at their best physically and at the heights of their powers, talent-wise, there was no comparison. None whatsoever. Roy mopped the floor with everybody in the 90s. Everybody in the 90s. Nobody was touching that brother. Nobody. It was incredible. My gosh, it was incredible. And shoot, if we ever see that talent again, mark my words. But we're going to try to get him on the show. That's what I can really say. But again, we're running up on 2 hours. We still got more to cover. Again, this is a Thanksgiving special. We can talk about boxing a little bit more. If anybody wants anything else to discuss. If you want to talk about Big Bang Zhang versus Kabiel. If you want to talk about Bakolie versus the F.A. Ajagba. We can talk about that as well. It got recently announced as legitimately the fight for mandatory of Dubois versus the winner of that. We could talk about that, or we could transition to the NBA. Because I do got some things I wanted to cover, because this is a multifaceted show. I did want to cover some stuff going on in the league right now. But I'll leave the decision up to you all. But as you type in the comments, quickly, I'll cover my thoughts on Kabiel versus Zhang. When it comes to Kabiel versus Zhang, I'm concerned because Kabiel has been moving up. He's been phenomenal. Consistently evolving and changing, put on a dominant performance, knockout after knockout, legitimately looking like a great heavyweight contender. Actually, unlike what we've seen with others like, Jared Anderson. But when it comes to him versus Zhang, the issue is, wrong thing, hold on. This may be, and I don't want to say this, but I really think it's true. This may be Zhang's last shot at legitimately getting a shot at a title. And I'm scared. I'm petrified. Zhang is one of my favorite fighters. I love watching Big Bang Zhang fight. I love it. He would give anybody, from Usyk to Fury to anybody in between. He is one of the most slept on legitimate contenders. From a talent perspective, he's one of the best in the heavyweight division. There is no question in my mind about him. The problem is, at this age, and what the losses he's got against, again, Joseph Parker, against Hrgovic, who he did beat, and he was robbed of that win. Now, even though he knocked out Deontay Wilder, even though, again, he knocked out Joe Joyce twice, one in the knockout of the year contender, the brother at this point, this is his last shot. Another loss, he's done at the heavyweight championship level, not in terms of elite talent, but in terms of opportunity. He's not going to get another one. And I don't want that to happen. But if he loses against Kabiel, it's over for him, potentially as a heavyweight championship contender. He may turn into a gateway for others. And it's only because of his stamina. That's the thing I hate about it. That's really what I hate about it. That's what I hate about it. The stamina of Zhang is something that is so detrimental. It's the one thing holding him back from being seen as a top 3 heavyweight in the world, as having a championship around his waist, as being one of the 3 guys that anybody's got to go through to get a shot at undisputed. He's one of them from a talent perspective. He's so good. His defense and blocking is underrated from everybody. He's so good at catching punches. He can eat shots from some of the best heavyweights in the world. He's got the ability to genuinely crack as one of the best punchers in boxing today. He's a southpaw with a great jab, great power, and great hand speed. He can take a shot from anybody in boxing. It's so frustrating because the brother constantly has the ability to be at the tops of the division. But if he can't get his gas tank right, that's why he lost to Joseph Parker, because of the gas tank. That's why. That's why he lost to Hrgovic, even though he should have won, because of the gas tank. It's been a constant thing. Even against Joe Joyce, when he was winning and dominating, it was better, but it was still a situation where the gas tank was something that was detrimental. It was so detrimental. It was so frustrating. And the brother, if he just was able to, if he could just contain himself and be able to, if he might just have to not throw anything except the jab for 6 rounds straight. And then in the last 6 rounds, now turn it up. Because the brother's he's got 5 good elite rounds in him. He's got 5. In terms of he can go and run through anybody. Caleb Plant, like you said, what is it? Caleb Plant, similar thing. Now, granted, it's because more so of I would say that's more so of the opponents that he faced when it came to Canelo, Benavidez. Again, we can go against McCumbee, even though against McCumbee, hey, that brother, he hurt him. He hurt him bad. He hurt him bad. And even in that fight, the brother, he showed he had great stamina and came back and fought on the inside. So we gotta give credit. We gotta give credit in that perspective. The brother went and learned from the fights with Benavidez and Canelo, and worked on the inside instead of constantly running and using his legs only to move back, but to move forward. He pushed McCombie back, even though McCombie was a stronger brother. We got to give credit to that. So I think Caleb Plant's gas tank was more so due to the opponents that he faced, rather than him in and of itself having a problem, in my opinion. Because in the past, like with Durrell and others, the brother could box for 12 with ease against body snatchers that can catch you. Now, like with anybody, using your legs for oh so long is a problem. It drains you when you're able to get caught still. That's an issue. And so that helps drain the stamina. The mental and physical fatigue to stay away from somebody you can't stay away from. That's a whole nother factor that drains you in and of itself, even object to just the punches that land. So for Caleb Plant, I think it's a little bit of a different story. But when it comes to Zhang, brother, he can land all on his own, and the guy still will gas out. And it looks like he's going at a controlled pace. It's so frustrating. And the thing is, he can't lose the weight, because if he loses the weight, the brother is going to be seen as he may lose some of his power. He may lose some of his ability, lose some of the pop. Like we saw, like I said with Tyson Fury, when he lost the weight to get cut and trim against Usyk, it's the main thing that was the shock absorber that wouldn't have let him get hurt potentially when Usyk did land clean on him. And what happened? The only people that had hurt Fury up until that point was an early fight, Randall, early in his career. Ottawa Lean fight that got cut, not necessarily bust, and a Deontay Wilder, who was seen and still is seen as having the greatest right hand that boxing's ever seen. That was it. Nobody else was able to really do that much damage to that brother. Not even Derek Chisora, not even a Dillian White. Nobody. Now, he lost, and not saying Usyk didn't have power. He does. But from the punches that we've seen Fury take, the weight is one of the biggest things that is his advantage. Zhang, same thing. The brother's got to be able to get cardio. He's got to get cardio. If he can get that, brother's a threat. If not, brother may be open. And some fighters are, like you said, Jay Will, they just 6-round fighters. They can't go forever. They can't. You got to get him out early. Even Mike Tyson, as great as he was, the one detriment in his career, outside of just the life of boxing getting overwhelming, was the fact that if you got out of round 6, you could have a chance to beat him. Because of not just the style of boxer that he had, not just the style that he was fighting, but the style required you to have so much explosiveness in your ability to get and reach your opponent. If you can't reach him, especially with the ferocity he would fight against for Mike Tyson, the brother, you could get gassed. He could if he didn't play right. And so because of that, it was a thing. Get out of round 6, you got a shot at beating him. Within round 6, there's no chance. None whatsoever. None whatsoever within the first 6 rounds. Mike Tyson, again, is elite all time. It's one of the greatest we've ever seen, period. Regardless of era. There is no question that. But every fighter has their one weakness that is objectively true. His was stamina after the first 6 rounds. And with their other fighters, it's the same thing. It's a crying shame. He fixes that, he's got it. If he doesn't, got a problem. F.A. Ajagba versus Bakolie. Understand this? I've never been high on F.A. Ajagba. And Ajagba against Bakolie, most likely we're going to see Ajagba get knocked out. Though we know he's got some power. Don't get me wrong. He's a big brother. The brother's stationary. He's stationary. He doesn't move at all. Doesn't have great footwork. Relies on his jab. It's a good jab. He's got great power and a good arsenal of punching. Problem is, he doesn't have anything else to his game. And if you can take his punches, let alone if you got the hand speed to be able to beat him to the punch. Oh my gosh. I've been saying it for FA, even though we haven't talked about him on the channel. The brother is indeed beatable. Absolutely. Bakolie is a prime ability to beat him. And if anything, all Bakolie's got to do for the first 6 rounds is clinch him up and lean on him. And make it so that FA further deteriorates in terms of his own stamina and ability to carry the weight. Now, shoot, at that point, you can just jab him to kingdom come. And then, like George Foreman, walk him down, short shots, damage and hurt him and get him out of there. Because FA has never been, in my estimation, a quality boxer. in my opinion. Never been. He's been high on for a lot of people. He's got some potential being an exciting knockout fighter in terms of, he's got power. He can put anybody's lights out. Yes, he can. But if somebody can take it and beat him to the punch, it's going to be a problem. He's flat-footed, stiff, stands in place, doesn't move his head, is very rudimentary. He's somebody like Bakolie, is primed and ready to take that brother out within 6 rounds. It can happen. If he did it, if you saw what he did to a moving target, that was Jared Anderson. What do you think he's going to do to a stationary target that not only is smaller than him, but also, if we see that he can take the punches and he doesn't have to worry about the power that Ajagba brings, yeah, that's a done deal. Bakolie's going to knock that brother out. And it's going to be vicious. It's going to be vicious. Vicious and slow and absolutely painful. And Bakolie's going to, again, keep on rising up as one of the top talents in the boxing world. I promise you that. I promise you that. That's at least in my opinion. That's what I can see. But now, as we wrap up the show, real quick, we have to transition into basketball because I had it on the show. We've been here 2 hours, 13 minutes. Covered about everything we can cover. Let me get these last things in for the basketball fans and savants out there that want to hear about the game. Let me talk about this. First up, as the NBA Cup keeps on rolling on. My gosh, Lakers. We got some problems. Ladies and gentlemen, the Lakers have lost 3 straight, and they lost their first Cup game in their history to the Phoenix Suns as they lost 127-100, a near 30-point blowout in a situation where they looked abysmal. The big 3 of the Suns absolutely dominated, and the role players on that team dominated. And there was nothing anybody could do. LeBron couldn't save him. AD wasn't playing, couldn't do anything to be able to get this team off the ground and get any real momentum. It was close up until the first 3 quarters. The next thing you know, they just took over. And at that point, sub them out. Put in Jackson Hayes and the rest of the bums on the squad because there's no chance you can survive. There's no chance you can win. This game is a wash. Now, that division with the Suns, Lakers, and I believe the Nuggets, if I have my divisions correctly, I forget who exactly is in that division of the Cup Conference. But they're all tied 2-2. And right now, biggest point differential goes towards, I think, the Suns. So this stays true, and they keep on being tied until the end of the Cup tournament or the end of the Cup qualifying rounds. Well, Suns move on. Lakers get left in the dust for the in-season tournament. But it brings a bigger question. With the Lakers, brother, what needs to be done? And what needs to be done is depth. Depth to an infinite degree. Get some doggone depth in your arsenal. Get a big man, please. Kaliko, the other backup center outside of Jackson Hayes, is not enough. Jackson Hayes is not enough. You need a quality, big, bruising center at your rotation. Get rid of D'Angelo Russell and Gabe Vincent, the utter disgrace of a guard that lied to the NBA public about being a good quality role player because of his role on the Miami Heat. I forget which GM said, it might have been an anonymous GM, that said never buy anything that the Miami Heat sells you in terms of who is a viable, legitimate option as a player, because they will lie to your face and say that they're good because they are lied to by the system that they run. They are not great role players outside of the Miami Heat. Never paid him any money. And the Lakers paid him 3 years, $33 million. Crying shame. Crying shame. And there's a situation where now, brother, you're stuck with the brother. Nobody wants him. Nobody in any way, shape, or form desires to have Gabe Vincent. Nobody wants D'Angelo Russell, who is, again, a detriment of an offensive point guard. There is no more, this buddy can get hot. He has gone 3 of 10, 2 of 12, 3 of 14, multiple games, and is sold whenever it comes to needing a big run, hitting open shots, and making dumb decisions. People are starting to call that brother the Westbrook of the Lakers when Westbrook was playing on the Lakers. And Westbrook, yes, he averaged 17-8-8 or 18-7-7, but still, you watch those games, that brother was bringing this team down in every way, shape, or form. An absolute putrid player to fit on this team. Horrible. Objectively horrible. We're not going to change the narrative. Don't let just the numbers fool you. That brother was bad to the bone in the worst way possible. Not in a good way. That is what the Lakers had. That's what the Lakers have right now. And Gabe Vincent and D'Angelo Russell. They got to ship him out. Trade deadline comes in December 15th, I believe. They got to get them out of there. They got to get them gone. They got to be ousted from this team. Because if not, they're going to continue to muddy in mediocrity. And the offense of this team is indeed flowing better. J.J. Redick is an offensive coach. Phenomenal. Running sets, legitimately getting Dalton Connect open, running plays for actual shooters, making it so that the best players touch the ball. AD having his best season to date since New Orleans. AD being a defensive player of the year and leading the league in scoring. I think just now got demoted because of this last game, but even still, Butter for most of the season has been arguably the best two-way player in basketball from an offensive and defensive perspective. But with all that being said, defensively, they are such a big liability because one of the things that is getting beat all the time, Max Christie, D'Angelo Russell, and Gabe Vincent, who's supposed to be, in terms of Gabe Vincent, a legitimate defensive-minded point guard, like he was in Miami, that could also hit threes. But no, he can't do a doggone thing because he's playing like a bum. He is a bum. D'Angelo Russell right now is playing like a bum. Max Christie was great for the 13 minutes that he played and the other times that he would get on the floor. 5-minute Max Christie in the past seasons was great and phenomenal. 13 to 15-minute Max Christie is horrible. 22-minute Max Christie is an abomination of basketball. Absolutely, he's horrible. Makes mistakes left, right, and center. Athletic, but can't do nothing with it. Can't shoot. Makes stupid decisions trying to drive. Gets himself in trouble, can't pass out. Can't even run a pick and roll properly, but without getting himself and his other players into situations where we're stuck. They got to have depth. They got to make trades. They've got to make a move to fill out this roster. And they got to hope that Vando gets healthy, because if not, brothers are going to be a big problem amongst the basketball universe when it comes to the city of LA. Boy, how did they going to struggle? They have the potential. Now the personnel ain't fitting the system because the two people that are supposed to run that personnel can't run the personnel. It's a big old problem. Big problem indeed. And also, Bucks beat Miami Heat. Damian Lillard has 37 points again in the Cup game. 10 for 17 from the field. Looking like the old Damian Lillard back in Portland with Giannis being out because of a knee injury. Objected to, I think, the hamstring that he had earlier that had him as questionable. Now, Bucks are looking to get back on track. Bucks are looking to be, hey, stuff is starting to get figured out. In spite of Darvin Ham and Doc Rivers, they're starting to figure it out. And my gosh, we see this and Giannis keep on playing at the high level that they've been playing over the past couple games. And Chris Middleton, who is rumored to come back in or after Thanksgiving, that happens. We could see this Bucks squad go back to being what we thought they would be at the start of the season. A legitimate test for the Eastern Conference. Getting everybody involved and making everybody be seen as another threat for a title. Even amongst the likes of the Celtics and the Cavaliers, who right now are cleaning house versus everybody in the Eastern Conference, over everybody in the NBA right now. It's a cool. Be warned. After Thanksgiving and around Christmas time, this Buck squad could reach the full potential that we've been waiting for them to reach for the entirety of this Dame and Giannis experiment. Oh, it can happen. It can happen, absolutely. And also, lastly, viewership going down in the NBA. It's been a issue, a problem. Some people left right now because they don't want to care about the NBA because they think it's boring. And the NBA has become boring. NBA has become a situation where it used to be a great product. Now, people are saying, what's happened to the sport that I love? Literally. And the question is, what has happened? Why is it that we're losing interest? It's a multifaceted thing, though. It ain't just because of one specific problem that's making the league lose revenue, lose viewership, lose money, and lose fan interest as a whole. There's a situation from 2012 to 2014, and since then, they have been going down in viewership. Even amongst the golden years that many would say of the Kobe years of 2016, going downhill. And it's because, brother, it ain't because of streaming. It ain't because of pirating sales or pirating basketball games from other sites that shall never be named so we can keep our sites. Wink, wink. But because the league's got a problem that is multi-layered. Some people say it's because of the style of play. To a degree, that's true. The identity of squads isn't the same as it used to be. Spurs, fundamental pass movement and pass movement based. And again, a bunch of role players that people may not expect to be great, all of a sudden in that system look phenomenal. Fundamental basketball to the greatest extent. Had an identity. Boston Celtics had an identity with the big three, the big four for that matter. The Suns had an identity, 7 seconds or less. That's what they ran. Lob City had an identity. Grit and Grind Grizzlies had an identity. Everybody now doesn't have an identity. It's not the same. Everybody does roughly the same thing in a slightly different way, which is shooting threes. I'm not saying that's the big problem. Game has evolved. But the identifying factor that made basketball look diverse. It's not as diverse as it used to be. I'm not saying that's the biggest problem. I'm saying that is a problem that some people have. That is genuinely, hey. Some people look at that and say, look, what happened to the game that I love to some degree? Why isn't Wemby posting up? Why isn't AD going down low every single time out? Why is Joel Embiid shooting threes? People have had those complaints. People have had situations where, hey, where is the stuff that makes you you? You're not using it, especially not to the best of your ability. And the things that made so many teams so nuanced is no longer happening. Everybody's having the same look to some degree. Yes, that happens with the landscape of boxing, the meta, quote unquote, or what works. Everybody follows the blueprint. Everybody follows the blueprint. The issue is with that blueprint, brother, at some point, if everybody's building the same building, a city doesn't look like a unique city. Now a city just looks like another neighborhood. Now a city from up top, if you look at a city that's diverse from the top down, it looks so unique. If you look at a city with every building being the same height or similar and same type of construction, now you say, Houston, we got a problem. What am I looking at? And it's nothing. Everything looks the same. It is a problem. On top of that, it's hard for people to watch the games. Brother, every time we tune in basketball, NBA on TNT, NBA on ABC, NBA on ESPN, League Pass, TSN, Barclays Sports. And even then, if you got League Pass, you can't even watch the games that you want to see because there's a blackout game. You can't even watch your own team play in your own city. It's so hard to actually see games for a lot of people. Just as a casual, I want to watch my local team play. I want to watch my favorite team play. I have League Pass that should give me a League Pass to whatever team I want to see, and I can't even watch them because it's not accessible for some odd reason because of where I'm stationed. That's a problem. That's a major problem. If we can't see the games, what makes us want to go through all the hassle of paying for subscription, after cable subscription, after streaming subscription to be able to watch a couple teams? It's not, no. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous and ludicrous. And on top of that, like we're looking and we're saying, look, basketball is a game that it can be every night. You should be able to see something special from some star. Also, with stars not playing on a consistent basis, injuries, load management, and whatnot, everybody being out constantly, seemingly, people being like, well, what am I paying for? Who is this Giannis character that we're talking about? Who is this Zion brother that everybody's been clamoring over? Yet we can't see him play because they're always hurt, always injured, always out, always on rest. It's a multifaceted issue. The way the presentation of the games are going, with the NBA Finals don't feel as engaging as they used to be. The logo ain't even there to differentiate what's happening for what type of atmosphere is being played in. The stakes of the game aren't being told. And that may be the biggest thing of it all. Storytelling in basketball is not the same anymore. To a degree, it could be because of the way the media has proposed basketball to be looked at. And the way that people as a whole look at the sport. And have basketball through a lens that if it's not the playoffs, it doesn't matter. If you don't win a championship, you don't matter. Your legacy doesn't matter. You will never get the same level of acclaim as somebody who's done this, that, and the third. Instead of appreciating what we're seeing from the immediate. And a top player can be a top player. Yes, we want you to win a championship. Can you do it? But objective to that, or adjacent to that, are you still, like, how great are you? And you can still be, we appreciate greatness. We don't. We've muddied everything down to just one or two things. And that's a problem. Championships, MVPs, and nothing else matters. And that breeds a sense that people don't want to watch the game because there's no stakes to anything that isn't the playoffs. There's a lack of storytelling that's being done throughout the season. Following players game by game, week by week, following teams and the up and downs that they experience throughout the years, throughout their career, throughout the season. It's not being the presentation of what this great game is, that is basketball, the game that I love. It's not being presented as a grandiose affair. It's not. There's a bunch of different leagues in soccer that aren't even all the same level in terms of a talent perspective. Nowhere close. There's a big drop off between Premier League and what's under Premier League. Yet, every fan of every team is fully bought in because the presentation and the respect to the season and the ambiance that is surrounding the game feels big, feels like an event. Basketball isn't presented like an event anymore. NBC used to do it when Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, and others in the 90s and 80s, even in the 70s, when it was on the come up of basketball, when it was being played, basketball and basketball stars were presented in a way that made them must miss or must watch TV. Can't miss TV. Now with basketball, it's not the same. And you got characters, you got stars, you got Anthony Edwards, you got LaMelo Ball. You got people like, again, Jason Tatum. You got Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic. All these people can't miss attractions from a talent perspective. But if they're all presented in the same vein of if you're not LeBron, if you're not Anthony Edwards, and if you're not Jason Tatum, we're not going to talk about you nearly as much. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doesn't get as much love. If you're not Victor Wembanyama, as a talking point in sports, we don't care. Making small market teams feel like bums, not worth their time. Even making good teams that aren't in big markets not feel big. Like Cleveland should be a bigger deal than this. Donovan Mitchell should be seen as a bigger star with what he's doing and what this team is doing as a whole. But they don't. Media has helped shape the way that people view the game. People view the players. People view the teams. And they've shaped it in a way that, yes, there are going to be certain stars that are bigger. There are going to be certain stars that are indeed more talked about. That's a given. That's not the problem. The problem is you diminish everybody else in order to elevate other people. You do that, everybody fails, except for the people that you're trying to elevate. And now, instead of what you did it with LeBron as the main star of basketball of yesteryear or even of today, understandable, well deserved. Even with that being the case, you made it so that nobody else was seen as viable or caring. And even when people that were doing great things, like Nikola Jokic, you diminished him. Like with Giannis, you diminished him. Giannis has won multiple MVPs and a championship. To a degree, he's not talking about like he should be. Jokic won a championship, should have been a 3-time back-to-back-to-back MVP winner. Won three MVPs and 2 of them back-to-back. And we'll still talk about him in a disrespectful way to some degree. People are still contending whether he's the best player in basketball. People are still contending that he's a boring basketball player. People are still contending that his greatness at an all-time level isn't what it is. Truly, as being on the cusp of being not just a top 10 center, but a top 5 center in NBA history, arguably the best offensive center that we've ever seen, all because they don't like his playing style. Stupid. It's stupidity. Even Tim Duncan got better respect than that, as being wholeheartedly accepted as the greatest power forward that we had ever seen, and being put in conversations as should he be top 5 in history with his accolades, talent, and accomplishments, and the talent that he faced off against. He got more respect, and he was deemed as boring, which was stupid. Again, fundamental, but ain't boring. Jokic got the best footwork in the NBA today, the best low post player in the NBA by far, arguably the best passer in the NBA by far, and one of the most efficient and arguably one of the best scorers, not arguably, is definitively also one of the best scorers in the NBA outright. And is the most efficient scorer in the NBA outright. And we're saying that he is boring. We're saying all this stuff to go against him. Stupidity on the side of media and pundits. That's why we got to tell the story right, to make it say this does not happen again. This doesn't happen anymore. So we can help make the league feel worth watching. Because when it's not, everybody suffers. Everybody suffers. It's a multifaceted issue. If NBA doesn't fix that instead of going and trying to fix one big thing, it's not a one fixed deal. It's the whole of the league and how it's being presented, what fans are saying and why they're saying it. You got to look at it. And you got to fix it. And when you do that, those incremental fixes equate to a big uptick in fixing the problem and getting viewership back to what we know it can be, which is one of the best, biggest watch sports in America. Nay, the globe potentially, because it's a global game. Absolutely. Will they fix it? We'll have to wait and see, but those are the problems. A few of the many. And that's why the NBA viewership is indeed going down and why it can go back up. But it's all on the league to be willing to look themselves in the mirror and not just look at one big thing, but look at all the small flaws that make up a big problem. They do that, they can fix it. Absolutely. But with all that being said, this has been another episode of The Welch Report with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show. Appreciate everybody joining in, coming in, and having the show, making it so that we had one of the best shows we've had in a mighty long time. This has been great. This has been phenomenal. This has been an outright incredible affair, incredible event, incredible show. Thank you to everybody who tuned in and commented. Again, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy all your food and festivities. We will be back next week, trust and believe, to cover the world of sports, both in basketball and in boxing and beyond. Don't get it twisted, and trust and believe. We got some fight breakdowns happening in December, like with Tyson Fury and Usyk, like with Anyway and Sam Goodman, and more others. Be here, like the video, go listen to us on every podcasting platform. I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all are wonderful. Peace and love. We are out of here.